evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out this evening. Apologize for a little bit of delay here. We'll call this meeting to order tonight. Please, everybody, silence your mobile devices if you got any. Mr. Groundset, leads the invocation.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are thankful for a beautiful day. Thankful for the love that you show us, most of all, for Jesus Christ. Thank you for the opportunity to gather this evening to do the business of the county. The county that you allow us to be a part of. We recognize the beauty of our county. Make it up. Help us to be vigilant in doing the good things that we have opportunity to do as commission. Help us, Father, to have a productive meeting. We love you. We ask this prayer in Jesus' name. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please make yourself aware of the ethics, awareness, and conflict of interest reminder this evening. Do we have any interest we know about? Hearing none. Do we have any additions or changes to the agenda this evening?
Chairman, I'd like to add under items for discussion A-1 DSS positions.
Do I move do I have a second? So moved. All in favor, vote with the usual sign. Thank you. Taylor, make note if you don't mind. A-1 for DSS discussion, please. Any other additions or changes to the agenda this evening? Hearing none. Do I have a move that we adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, vote with the usual sign. Do we have any public comments this evening? Don't see any cards. Anybody here to speak publicly? Seeing no cards. Next on the agenda, any board comments? Approval of the minutes, March 7th, 2022. I'll move to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor, vote by the usual sign. Next on the list tonight, got a big agenda, so thank you guys for coming out. We'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. First on the list tonight, we have past substance abuse use prevention work from Miss Jessica Zucchino. Jessica, please welcome. We do have a lot on the agenda tonight, so if you could limit yours to maybe 10 minutes, would that be?
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Here.
If you don't mind, come up here and I think the mic is on. It should be good. So.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for your time. Just wanted to, I guess it's a part of your packets that you all received some information on the work that Partners Alliance Towards Health does as it relates to substance use prevention. And so as an organization, Partners Alliance Towards Health or PATH serves both Yancey County and Mitchell County. And as you all might be aware, the opioid settlement planning is sort of in place. And so we would be happy to be a partner in that, just to offer support. There's a variety of things that as a coordinator of the substance use prevention work that I do and that PATH does. And one of those is our task force. And so that opens up a lot of partners within, I guess I just have access to all of those folks to invite them in. So just wanted to pitch that out for you all to consider if it would be helpful to have access in any sort of way that we can be supportive during that opioid settlement process or planning. Really happy to be of support. So that's primarily what I wanted to share with you. Yeah. There's and again, there's a lot of information in there. So if there's any questions about any of that, really happy to answer any of those questions. And some of Hannah's here with me this evening. She's our healthy lifestyles coordinator. And so what we're trying to do is kind of integrate substance use prevention and healthy lifestyles. So it's not so.
So this is the
separated.
Purdue settlement, correct? Is this part of that?
Yeah,
Produce on hold.
correct. Yeah. So
That's-
there is.
That's what I thought.
Well, there's two separate settlements. So there's one against the family themselves, and that one's on hold. And then there is the general settlement for counties, and that one is continuing forward.
Okay.
I thought that I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, that a federal judge threw out that settlement because as a part of that settlement, the Purdue family couldn't be, or the family themselves couldn't.
That's the last thing I read. That's
Yeah,
why I
that there was a maximum amount in the settlement.
And that's separate from the settlement that the counties have entered, is my understanding.
Okay. We heard any information on that? Okay.
And so some of what the work that we've done with Yancey County has been just sort of organizing, polling community folks on what their interest is, agencies that kind of specialize in substance use prevention or substance abuse recovery and treatment and that sort of thing. So again, if that would be helpful to you all in planning this or just having access to those folks, just so you're aware, I can pretty quickly connect you to a larger group of folks. You all, of course, are very aware of the resources that exist in this area, but just meant to be a resource.
The money, if I remember correctly, was stipulated to have to be spent around recovery. Is it, or was it? Okay.
There's a lot of different avenues. And so again, if we can be a partner in that way, just of what seems like it could be most helpful as agencies are viewing it, or the general public, what seems like it might be most helpful if it's on the prevention end or treatment recovery.
Is your office here in Mitchell County, or you?
So our home office is in Burnsville, but we serve both counties. So, yeah. And I myself am a Mitchell County resident, so I'm really passionate about making sure that we have some organization and that PATH has a presence in Mitchell County as well.
Who would be the planning with? Would it be the county commissioners or would several different council and substance agencies?
So I think from the task force perspective, we have representation from law enforcement, from schools, from parents, youth serving, religious organizations, civic organizations, substance abuse specialists. So I can pull in any of those folks who serve Mitchell County, but I think ultimately it's up to you all who is involved in that planning process.
Would you have to have a number or percentages of numbers of Mitchell County residents that are this substance abuse program?
I'm not sure I understand the question. In order for us to participate and support you all? Or?
No. Let's say the overall population of Mitchell County, what would be the percentage of Mitchell County that have a substance abuse problem? Y'all, are you privy to that information?
My understanding is that through the community health assessment that's put out, and I don't have those numbers on the top of my head, there would be information about folks who are reporting substance use disorder or use of substances of any kind. Probably takes me like 10 minutes. It's
No,
not
you're
over.
good. You're
No,
good.
you're good.
Anybody got any other questions for Jessica?
And there's an email address on that information that we sent to you all, but that same ending, but if you just put Jessica in front of that at pathwnc.org, you can reach me that way. If you'd better just contact me directly.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Yeah, thanks for your time. Next on the agenda tonight is the Mitchell County Fire Association. So I see quite a few of the Mitchell County Fire Association here tonight. So I don't know which one of you young gentlemen might like to speak.
Don't everybody
Ashley,
jump at one
I
time.
started to say, Ashley, I think all that was directed towards you, wasn't it? Oh,
Gentlemen, I'll be brief as far as the fire association. I think Jeff and Harley asked to hear individually from the fire associations, but our problem's still the same problem it's always been. We don't have enough money to do what we need to do. And I think if anybody knows what's happened in the last 24 hours in Mitchell County, especially in Spruce Pine, you know, we're all there. We're not having any problems doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're just having a problem paying for what we're supposed to be doing. So I'll let, Josh, if you want to go first.
Ashley, before you leave,
Sir.
Harley and I probably have been feeding more information. Rest of the commissioners don't. Would you explain the cost process every time you go down a level?
As far as the,
How much more it costs you, what all this entails, and how much more equipment? Could you break that down like you did for us? It would, I guess, enlighten everybody.
yes, the fire rating in North Carolina is based on a 10 through 1, 1 being the best, 10 being the worst. 10 is basically saying that there is, if your house catches on fire, it's going to burn to the ground and there's nothing anybody's going to do about it. It steps down in increments from there. And it's hard to give a true number, but on average, if you have a $200,000 homeowner policy, for every point you go down, it's going to save you somewhere between $100 and $200 a year on your homeowner's policy. In doing that, there is a lot in each step to go down. And the rating system, it doesn't tell you what you need to do. It grades you on what you do. So there's no magic checklist you can go down, because a fire in Bakersville and the buildings we protect in Bakersville are not the same as in Bradshaw, and they're not the same as in Spruce Pine. So that's a big misunderstanding. There's not a checklist that we can go down that says if we buy this, this, and this, then it's going to go down. That being said, to go from 9 to a 5, that all benefits your homeowners. That benefits everybody that has an insurance policy in that coverage district. Anything below a 5 only saves money to people who have a commercial business policy. And from 5 to 1 affects them more, but it doesn't do anything else for a residential homeowner. There's only, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, 2 or 3 1s in the state. Maybe there might be 5. A 1 is about an unobtainable number for a rural county. That being said, we have several 5s, 6s in our county that do that. And my rating in Bakersville is a 5, and it costs a fortune to maintain that. If I drop my rating back to a 9, I have 9 trucks right now. I could sell all but 4 of them. I could keep 4 trucks, perfectly legit. The state would be fine with that. But to maintain that rating, that's, you know, I have to have all those trucks. We don't pay for them or buy them just because we think they look cool. We have to have them. I was explaining to Jeff the other night, I have 4 trucks that do the exact same thing. I have 4 engines. Any one of them new costs $700,000. I have 4 of them and I have to have all 4 of them. So there's a lot more that goes into it than trucks. They look at your paperwork, they look at everything, but to go to every time you drop your rating, that directly affects the pockets of the citizens that own homes and have a homeowner's insurance policy in Mitchell County. It saves them a tremendous amount of money. It costs me, like I say, I have 4 trucks that do the same job. If I let my rating go back to a 9, I could sell all but 4 of my trucks instead of running a fleet of 9 trucks and 2 stations. I could actually let one of my stations go. So I could actually go to the 2 trucks and be perfectly legitimate as a 9 in the state of North Carolina. But because we wanted to try to help the homeowners and the people with insurance policies, that's why we've obtained the rating. But with the cost of everything, we're just having a hard time maintaining that.
I know it's what we're working on, guys to do that. I mean, it's just the training, it's all the paperwork, it's a lot of paperwork.
It's
right,
everything.
too. And then the equipment and, you know, thank you guys for what you do with that, because I know people in Bakersfield smiling real big because of it, you know.
Yeah, it does help. Like I say, it greatly benefits people with homeowners insurance policies. Anything
You
else
guys
I
got any
can?
questions?
How much more, Ashley, do you guys, do you have a projection annually of what you guys would need Bakersfield to adequately do?
Like to maintain a
Yeah,
file?
well, just, yeah, to maintain a 5.
Well, I can tell you from, we want to go ahead and just jump right into it. This is my budget to actual as a 410 this legal. This is what I take in, this is what I spend. This is where it all goes. Second, now.
So while Ashley's handing those out, that paper that I had Taylor to print off for you guys, that is a printout from John Hall, just to kind of give you an idea of what like your premium would be, and when you drop a class level, what that kind of changes to.
And just to highlight mine really quickly for you all. Just my expenses as far as utilities, the testing I have to do on my equipment, just kind of all those lump sum things that I have to pay before I ever see a dime of my money. That comes out to $46,900 a year. The salary for my paid person is another 25, so that brings it up to $70,900. I have a building payment of $25,000 a year, and that leaves me at $64,000. And we generally try, as most of the departments here do, to do as much as we can on the state fire grant, which is a 50-50 matching up to $30,000 out of the department. So it gives us, it basically doubles 30,000 into 60,000, but it is limited on what you can spend that money on. So by the time all that's said and done, before the pager ever goes off, before somebody tears something up, before something gets burned up, before something gets broke, that leaves me $30,000 to run my department on. And when it costs, me and Tim were just sitting back there talking. If somebody walked in today and said, which I had this happen the other day, that I'm a 20-year career fireman, I've got 20 years experience in the city of Asheville, I want to be a volunteer in Bakersfield, it roughly cost me $15,000 to put him to work.
To do complete onboarding for a new volunteer. That's any volunteer.
That's
not
any
just-
volunteer. You know, but when you got somebody that says, I've got 20 years experience, that's not the person you want to tell, well, just wait and we'll get you something that we can pay for it. Like I say, it's a hard show to run a fire department on $30,000 a year, and that's what I'm doing it on. And like I told Jeff and Harley, I'm dipping into money that I don't want to be dipping in. And, you know, eventually that's gonna run out. We bought our current first out engine in 2000. It cost me $210,000. It was paid off a couple of years ago. But if I went and replaced it with the identical truck today, if I didn't upgrade, if I didn't do anything, any different, that same truck would cost me $720,000. So, and I'm not saying I want a new fire truck. I'm not even saying I have to have a new fire truck. I'm just saying we haven't had an increase in the fire tax in 20 years. And in 20 years, the same fire truck has went from $210,000 to over $700,000. That's just where we're at. Our money's not catching up with the price. We went to 2 fires with Bruce Pine, and I put over $400 worth of fuel in 2 trucks in the last 24 hours. So what we're saying, we're not looking for the frills and anything like that. We're just looking to maintain what we've got and be able to take care of the people that we have volunteering.
Actually, on your budget, your town loan, is that a loan that the fire department took from the town?
Yes, sir. That's the new station in Bandana. Due to some funky things with being a town fire department, I can't get loans for buildings the same as other people do. So the town of Bakersville fronted me $100,000 on a 4-year payback to get that building. And that building, I priced it a year ago, and I say everybody's seen it down on Highway 80. That building was supposed to cost me $97,000. And to be at the point we're at today, right now I'm $156,000 into that building. And I don't even have power in the building yet. So that's just kind of what we're running up against every day. It seems like the prices of everything we have to have go up. Anything else for me as far as Bakersville?
Thank you.
Sir.
I'm good. Thank you for all that information.
For those who don't, Josh Brown, Chief of Spruce Pine. I look a little tired because I am. Got in bed. It was 12:15 last night. Had a 25-acre brush fire that seriously affected 8 houses in Beaver Creek. Industrial fire to BRP this morning at 6 o'clock. So I'm running a little thin. I was going to bring the profit loss. Since the last 2 days, I haven't had a chance to print you all out one, but I do have some numbers. In 2021, our intake was $338,464. We spent $252,464. So that leaves right at $86,000 over. This year, I've got a $79,000 truck payment. So after making the truck payment this year, I'm gonna have about $6,500 to spend on one set of turnout gear if I get a new member. And 15 years ago, we put in the FEMA grant and got 30 air packs and 60 bottles, which was great at the time. Those bottles have a 15-year limit on them. 15 years, you have to throw them away. Can't do nothing with them. For the past 6 years, I've been trying to replace 5 a year in our budget. So I've got 15 of them replaced. So I'm down another 15 bottles at $1,000 a bottle. So if you take 15,000 and 6,000, I'm short. So I've got 15 bottles that are out of date right now. DOT, who governs our bottles, I can still use those bottles one time. Once they go empty, I cannot refill them without being penalty of law. So Those 15 are on my very slow trucks. And you say, well, I have 60 bottles, sounds like a lot. It is. But as we get rated, and each one of our trucks have to have packs and bottles based on what the state tells us. The engine has to have 4 packs with 8 bottles. So all 4 of my engines has to have 4 packs and 4 extra bottles, 8 bottles. And tower has to have 6. And you go through those numbers. So I'm in a hole there already. Turnout gear was like Ashley said, if I had somebody come to me right now wanting to join, I have no gear to put them in. I have no way to buy them gear to put them in unless I get a grant. The grant don't released until May. So if I had somebody come tomorrow with 25 years experience, sorry, you gotta wait. Ain't got no money. I say that, yeah, I could spend some, but at the end of the year, I'm still gonna have a $79,000 truck. And this is the 3rd time we have come to you with numbers and telling this and going through this. This will be the 3rd time. I'm at the fire station every Monday night. It's 2 in the last year. If you want to see my numbers, you want to see my equipment, come this on Monday night. I'll take you through the station. I'll tell you everything I got. I said, this is the 3rd time. Previous 2 times, nobody showed up on a Monday night. That's on you guys. The truck we're replaced was a 30-year truck, $461,000 tanker. I've got another 30-year-old truck that if I could order it tomorrow, it's 2-year lead time on it. So a 30-year truck's gonna be a 32-year-old truck. 30-year stuff breaks on them every time you use it. I don't have the money to fix them. I've got a 25-year-old ladder truck that at some point in time is gonna have to be refurbed or replaced, and that's 1.5 million to start with. I gotta have a ladder truck to keep my rating. Hopefully it'll stay together long enough until I can get this one paid for and replace my 30-year engine, then I'll look at refurbing it or replacing it. I don't have the money to plan ahead in my budget to start putting money aside to do that. $6,000 a year won't replace a truck real quick at $1.5 million. So it's back to the same thing. I'm a taxpayer in Mitchell County. I'm a taxpayer in Spruce Pine. I don't want my taxes to go up. I don't want to pay no more taxes than I have to. But if it's something that protects me and my family, I don't care to pay it. I can turn around and show the citizens increasing it here, you save it here. And it's a huge percentage of the difference in what you pay in fire tax versus what you save in homeowners. And Ashley and John Hall numbers back that up. That's your easy answer. How can we do this? No matter what you guys do with us, taxes, if you increase or don't increase, somebody's gonna be mad at you. This is what you do and how you do it. Taxes go up, somebody's gonna be mad. If taxes don't go up, we're gonna be mad. Who do you want more mad at? Somebody's gonna save your life or somebody's not gonna save your life? Any questions?
What, on average, Josh, how many calls did you say you directly respond to?
Take the medical, take the medical calls out of it, which is an extreme number. If you put medical calls in it, we're averaging 900 calls a year. Take the medical out, 550, 600. For whatever reason was on the way over here. And this year has been crazy. We have run more calls this spring. 5 structure fires this year so far in our district, and just in our district, not counting mutual aid. We average probably 8 to 10, 12 actual true structure fires a year. Run a lot of chimney fires and small electrical fires and stuff like that. But actual true home damage and home loss fires, we've had 3 in Spruce Pine, industrial fire this morning, several brush fires. Brush fire yesterday could have been catastrophic, 8 houses, because it was right on top of it. We got lucky and had a lot of help.
Josh, how many calls did you say total?
Actual
give or take.
fires, 550,
I
or
was gonna
actual
say,
fire calls, 550-ish.
I was gonna say, I actually pulled these numbers before the fire association meeting last week, so you're about spot on. I've got 533.
Yeah,
I've got 533 for Spruce Pine, and I've got a breakdown of all of these, Jeff.
and our medical calls due to the COVID issues and everything, our medical calls the last couple of years have been a lot lower because we restricted what we ran due to COVID incidents and COVID stuff, so. And that started to come back up, the COVID cases coming down, we're starting to run more back to the basic medical calls, helping EMS out, which they get paid, we don't. And I'm not asking to increase the fire tax to put a new desk in my office. I'm not asking the fire tax to put a new vehicle that I drive. I want to increase in fire tax so I can help protect you guys and save your life and save your house. That's what it comes down to.
I have a question. So when you're fighting fire, how quick do you go through an oxygen mask?
Me, real fast. I don't think I can actually suck the sides in on one. But it's been ever since I became chief 5 years ago, I don't fight fire. I lost that joy. I don't want to say it's fun, but it's somebody's house. But that's why I joined. I didn't join to be chief and stand back, tell people what to do. I joined to fight fire. That's where I ended up.
Just curious, 'cause I have
Now,
only put
somebody
a-
who's in better shape, most of our bottles are rated 45-minute bottles.
okay.
30, depending on what you're doing. Of course, the more hard, heavy stuff you're doing, the quicker you're breathing, the harder you're breathing. Somebody who's in shape can stretch it out 35, 40 minutes.
Well, I've only put an air pack on once and I will never do it again because it was just like a mental thing for me, I guess, because it takes a lot of getting used to.
It's different. It is a different world. And not being able to see changes everything completely. And if anybody wants to come by on Monday night, we'll put you in one. Put you in the building and smoke it up.
I'm okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
So I have another question, sorry. It's not just for you specifically, but Thursday, what day is it? Thursday, we had the fire association meeting and we had discussed, I know Tim was there. You guys were there. So anybody that was on this brush call, how did EMS do with staying on scene? Was it better? Because, okay, great. I'd seen him at lunchtime, but I forgot to ask that, so I wanted to get feedback from you guys on that. Mhm. Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
I'm Brian Burleson, Chief of Parkway Fire and Rescue. I give you all a packet. I'm not gonna take up a lot of your time. This is a statement from me. This is things that Parkway do. I'm gonna take up your time on your insurance rating. This is a thing, if you look in your packet, this is from OSFM. I did have opportunity to go to class this weekend on rating and inspections. This is what the numbers that they give us, that what your protection class would go down, how much the homeowners would save. I have two things here, one from Chad Hughes and one from John Hall on a $200,000 home, on how much that each homeowner would save on that. I also have included my budget for y'all to look over. And if anybody has any questions, I have enclosed my phone number, same as Josh, we're there on Monday night. If anybody has any questions, just come by or call me.
Hey, Brian, do we have any tens in Mitchell County?
No,
We don't.
The highest is 9, right?
highest is a 9.
We've got 2 9s, 3 5s, and 2 6s. I don't think so.
Parkway is a
I
5.
don't think they're a 7.
And to clarify something I actually said, that it has changed on the ISO rating. If you're a protection class 6 or lower, it does not affect homeowners. That is a change that they have
recently put in unless you have a 4,500 foot square house. We have the Grassy Creek area, the Little Switzer, and on the Owl Pass community. We actually do cover part down into McDowell County, but we do collect a fire tax in McDowell County on that. 7 cents. Because if you all up it, we're gonna go to them to match it. Because it's not fair for our citizens to pay more and then pay less and get the same protection. Good evening.
Evening.
Most of y'all know me, if not, Tim Miracle, Fire Chief at Ledger, Fire Department. Sorry, I didn't. As you can see, my budgets for the year was 126. But anyway, you can tell there, my profits and loss. Last year, we were at 175 calls. That's medical calls, mutual aids, fires, everything. Being standby at ball game, Mitchell High School, with 18 volunteers. So, that's a lot. Directing volunteers to do. You know, we've all told you that we need, you know, a little help. So I'm not gonna say that and bore you to death for that, but to go over what they're talking about as far as year wise, one set of years. Just, you know, somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to join. Just the top and the pants is around $4,000. That don't include helmet, gloves, mask, anything else that we got to give them. A pager that we carry is $400. The radio that we have, $4,000. That's on the low end. You know, right now I'm a 9S. I went, me and Brian and Seth and a couple of my guys and went down to the rating class. So we are, you know, hopefully do something about it. But I can sit here, talk the same thing that these guys have. They know. So.
Have you guys, and I don't even pretend to know all the stuff that you guys do, but have you guys ever looked at like consolidating areas? I mean, as far as coverage wise, like Ledger being a part of Spruce Pine, or Ledger being a part of Bakersfield, or Bakersfield being part of Branch. You know, I don't, or can you do that? I mean, to consolidate some of these resources that you're, you know, where you're having to pay to keep up a station in Ledger and one in Bakersfield and one in, I mean.
As far as I've been chief, no, nobody did that.
That's why we got so many. Gotcha. 5 miles. Gotcha. So really, you're got.
The thing is, if you look at some places, yeah, me and Tim overlap, but if you get away with him stations, there's gonna be other places that somebody else is gonna have to pick up, or vice versa. And, you know, when this was all, stations were put in where they were put in, because somebody gave the land to the fire department, most likely, at the time. And now, you know, now that we're trying to lower rates, that does play a factor into it. There's some places that are just in the wrong,
In a
there's
bad.
some stations that are in the wrong way.
Just asking, I didn't know
But
how
the
all
way I
that was.
look at it, that's just 5 miles. 5 miles.
Gotcha. Thank you.
How's that work for a substation? I know there's some. thought-
Same. That's why I have a substation on highway. 5 miles. Like you're applicable to the county.
So does the substation just house trucks and turnout gear and, but it counts as your 5 miles, so your members
That's
cover
my
that.
5 miles. That station's almost 5 miles from Baker, so that allows me to carry the other 5 miles on.
The benefit of that.
So the bandana station covers to Boonford Bridge.
Also, the way most of us in this room are based, we have to have a 2 engine and a electric car. That's what we have to have. Truck and for distribution wise, right truck to the right call. So does your rating, you guys have a 6, Ashley, is that what you said? 5. So does your 5 rating, does it apply to the folks that live around that substation there in Bandana too?
Everyone in my district is a 5, with the exception of folks that live on the very head of Cane Creek, that's actually in Avery County that you can't get to from Mitchell County, and I contract those back out with Frank Fire Department. But everybody, for all intents and purposes, like has 5.
So everywhere you put a substation within 5 miles, those people are covered under a 5 as well.
That's why I have to have a substation. At Water Street, my 5 miles. So if I didn't have that substation, everyone on the other side of Water Street to the Boonford Bridge would be in and out.
So cost wise, you have to have additional trucks to house that substation. But
That's gotta be another station all to it.
do you get to share turnout gear with your Bakersville station, or do you have to have turnout gear just
The
there? or-
turnout gear go with the people.
So you would-
28 volunteers.
So you would save on that by, I guess, having substations then.
Yeah, because you can have 2. But with that, for every additional substation, the department can run 18 volunteers, but for every additional substation, you have to have 8 additional people to make that substation.
Gotcha.
So yes, it does help, but yes,
There's-
it does cost.
I know this is gonna be a hard question to answer because of locations of each fire department. And some of y'all have paid firemen at certain times during the day. Within your district, what would be your average response time? And I know during the day, it may be different versus the afternoon versus late at night because I'd say it's safe to say that everybody in this room has a regular job, but they have to show up to every.
I have a 40-hour week pay person, Monday through Friday. 5. They're in the building or in a truck, so basically the time it takes to get in a truck, I've got a first truck roll. Nighttime after hours, the roll of the dice, because, everybody has live jobs. And, we've had, like Josh says, we've had several serious fires. One of my assistant chiefs was in training for the county, the other one was in was. 2 of my paid guys were at work, so. Roll the dice, who you kill, right?
Yeah, appreciate that.
Good evening, guys. My name is Daniel and I'm chief at Bradshaw. And talking about all this stuff, same as last time. I thought as we was talking about the stations being so far apart, my station is in Tipton Hill. So I go all the way to the Tennessee line with my district. And that is probably a good 10 miles. My 5 miles ends about Flat Branch, if anybody knows where that's at. That's way down there. So that being said, after that 5 miles, the community is in a 9S. So our main goal at Bradshaw was to build a substation. But the substation, same as always, costs money. And my needs, I probably got the oldest fleet in the county. My newest truck is a 2000. So I would like to better ourselves so we could help our community. Better response times, better everything, if we could at least have a little raise. And Harley was talking about the air bottles and air packs. We used to have a cascade system. Our cascade system is when the air goes low in the bottles, fill the bottles up. Recently, about 2 years ago, that went out on us. So we called the people that did the servicing and they said, you know, that equipment was so out of date, you can't fix it. So thanks to Ashley, he got one. So we've been using off him forever now. So I said, well, this year I would like to get me a cascade system. So I'm gonna pass this around here for just the cascade. On the last page.
Daniel, while you're passing that around, if you're talking about a substation, what area would you be looking at?
We looking at land like the Poplar boat landing.
How far away is that from where your previous station was?
Probably about 15 minutes.
Okay, so,
So our response time from Tipton Hill is probably, if we go to Poplar, it's probably about 20 to 30 minutes, the best we can do.
I'm just trying to get lots of
So
info.
having that substation will
Yes.
cut down the response time by a ton.
Well, I've got a community forum down there Thursday,
Okay.
and so I know I've already been hit with, we are not inside that 5 mile
Yeah.
fire district.
And there's our
So,
main goal.
Yes.
We've got like 2 or 3 spots of land picked out. And my budget is $107,000 a year. And last year we paid out that expense, building payments, $91,600. So we got probably a little over $10,000 we have to buy gear, whatever we need.
We got, how many firemen, volunteer firemen we got in Mitchell County currently? I know it was going down quickly. Last time I come to you meet, it was like 160 something maybe.
Bakers will average around 30.
Yeah, I knew it was pretty,
I was gonna say, how many actually roll out?
yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it's much lower, the people that actually turn out.
And we got 18.
Close to 43.
Maybe 1800 to retire.
Probably
Many of
90% of it.
Any new volunteers, you got to pay for training, you got to pay for equipment, you got to do all the things that you need to, just like you say, 15 grand for one person.
What people don't think, and that's definitely not where our money goes, we are volunteers. Like 24 hours, $6. Straight out of my,
Your person.
that comes out of my back pocket.
This is another dumb question, so I'm just, so what would keep you from saying, all right, Spruce Pine is a main station, Bakersville's a main station, Fruit Ledger's a substation of Spruce Pine, Bradshaw's a substation of Bakersville. Could you do that? I mean, you said you had to have 8 people.
I think I have Booker County Commissioner set up fire district. They are independent entities. If you're gonna do that, county's got to change fire district.
That would have to come down from the county. That's not something, I can't go to,
And that might not be something you even wanted to do. I don't know that would even be a,
You could eliminate a fire district, consolidate it with other districts, and have a substation. And in all honesty, We're gonna have to. And the farthest, and the valley was first set up by the state. 3 miles of the station. And that's one reason we did that, the station, when we did.
Around to meet that.
People would later got together, but they had some fire department will separate. Road miles. District were set back.
Well, something you gotta look at too. Yes, there is overlap, but you're still gonna have to have roughly the same number of buildings. You're gonna have to have the same number of trucks. So if me and Tim went together and said, now we're gonna tile Baker on Fort Mount something else, we still couldn't get rid of a bunch of stuff. So we got rid of a bunch of
Right,
stuff, our rate would go.
Right. Yeah, you still have to keep all the stuff and
Yeah.
keep up with it. I guess I'm just trying to say, could you take advantage of how awesome the rating is there on some of these other
Well,
areas?
Some of the health departments also, you have to look at the contracts they have. I know Fort Mountain, land contract, when the owner donated the land to the fire department, it states, if the name changes from Fort Mountain, everything
goes.
we have goes back to that family. We can't put Bakersfield's name on our
Gotcha.
station, and we no longer have to. That's another thing to consider. Like the substation. You have to build a new building. My station's on right now.
Ain't nothing simple in this world. Gotcha. Well, thank you for the information.
Any other questions for me?
and I'm sorry to interrupt, but what you said, taking advantage of the rate. If me and Tim combined, I'm a 5, he's a 6. We went down that road, I would have to be re-rated again. I could lose my rating.
You could
because
go
of the
back to a
additional
6.
land And area I picked up.
Gotcha.
Just because I'm a 5 now.
Don't mean
doesn't
that everybody's
I'd
a
be
5.
if we combine.
Gotcha.
That
Gotcha.
the state would come in and take absolutely everything.
Gotcha.
Anything else for me?
Is anybody from your department Thursday at 6?
Okay, sounds good. I will.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Tim Jones. I'm the new chief of Fort Mountain Fire and Rescue, and got a little kind of presentation for you. So I'm here for the same reason all the others are. We need money. Commissioner Harding told us in the Fire Association meeting he'd like to hear some more about the fire departments. So I have some things about our department I'm going to hand out. I'll try to get through them quick and keep y'all on schedule. So I have just currently taken Fort Mountain over. Did a lot of the paperwork and everything for it last year, but I officially became chief January 1st. Had to make some pretty major changes right out of the bat. Our fire department was not eligible for any grants or anything because of the state the paperwork was in. Some of these other chiefs have also told you about the gear that they're needing if a new guy joins. All but 3 of my members are in 2007 dated gear, which means it's training gear only. My guys cannot even go in a burning structure. If they do and get hurt, there's no insurance coverage there. So I've been in a mad dash trying to get, the former chief did very well on keeping trucks up and that stuff, but the rest of the stuff was kind of let go. The majority of my members don't have radios. The majority of my members don't have turnout gear. So the first page there is going to be the training hours that we put in for 2021. 1,515 hours. I roughly have 18 members, more like 12 active members and 3 junior members on my department at this time. We have a training budget of $1,000 on paper. Last year, I personally spent out of my pocket $1,400 staying in the hotels so that I could get training I needed around the state. So I do plan to redo our training budget this year. I need a lot more money. I have guys actually wanting to train this year. So that was our 2021 training hours, 1,515 hours. This year, up to date so far, we're at 425 hours of training. I have 4 members in the EMT class. I had 9 members go to McDowell Fire and Rescue College last weekend, which is a huge step for Fort Mountain Fire and Rescue. We haven't had that many active members in many years, so things are changing. I'm working very hard at getting things updated. The third page is a grant that I received on December 15th for radios. I, trying to save funds, went a cheaper route and got single band radios only. Our communication system still works on VHF and 800 known as Viper radios. We primarily talk on Viper, so that's what I went with. The radios cost, as you see, they're $1,500 a piece. If I went with the dual band radios, we'd be looking $3,000 to $4,000 a piece for those. So this was a 50-50 grant I got. The radios have been in Asheville 3 weeks now, waiting to be programmed. I received word today they got the IDs. I should have those radios within this week. So that is a grant that I have received. That's the first step. My members will have radios by this weekend finally. Next page is a 50-50 grant I've applied for. You can see I just put down there everything that I've applied for on this grant. These are all things that I need. You see the price of the grant and what I'll be paying for the grant if I get it. If I don't get it, I still need all of that equipment regardless. The third page is another grant I've applied for. That's a $35,000 100% grant. If I get that, that'll be great. I need everything on that page as well. And if I get that, that's no cost to me. If I don't get that, I still need everything on that page. The next page, the Atlantic Emergency Solutions page, is some brush fire gear that I ordered on top of turnout gear and all the other things that these fire departments need. We need a lot of other stuff as well, more than turnout gear. We fight brush fires since November. I've probably been involved with 20 or more brush fires. You can't send guys into the woods in turnout gear to fight a brush fire. They'll be having a stroke. So that's enough, as you see, for 4 members right there. Quantities of 4, $1,500. I have 14 people. Well, 15 people that I need to get that gear for. So that's 4 sets. I still have 11 more to go at that price. The next page, the Atlantic Emergency Solution page, is turnout gear that I ordered December 15th. I was told 3 days after I ordered that, the price of that gear almost doubled. I was the last person to ever buy a set of gear at that price. I ordered 3 sets. Like I said, I need basically to keep our ISO rating next time we get an inspection. I have to have 15 members that have radios, pagers, turnout gear, yada, yada, yada. Right now, I have basically none of that stuff. So if I don't get this stuff by our next rating, I will probably be a 10 rating, not a 6 anymore. So I'm doing everything I can. I'm applying for every grant I can, but there's no grants that are guaranteed. It's, wait and see what happens. But in the next couple of years, this is stuff that I have to have. We've got about 4 years until our ISO rating comes up, and I've got to have this department back on track with equipment by that time. So the next page is just a list that I've made of equipment that I need. Air packs, my department, I don't know exactly what the others have, but I would about guarantee my fire department has the oldest air packs in the county. We have something called a pass alarm on the air packs. When you turn the air on, it goes off an alert. And if you quit moving, it starts vibrating and alerting. That way, if a firefighter goes down in the building, it makes a noise and the firefighter's going in can find it. It's dark, you can't see anything. My air packs still have manual pass alarms, which means when you turn the air on, they don't turn on. You have to remember to do that. If you don't remember to do that, you go in a burning house without a pass alarm on. My air packs also, none of my air packs have RIT connections. RIT is a team that we have outside. If somebody calls a mayday inside a house, that team comes in and get them. The new air packs are newer, anything made after about 2000 has a RIT connection where they bring a pack in, they hit a port on your pack and fill you back up with air. None of my members have that. So basically a bottle switch or switching out a face mask to the RIT pack would be the only way for my members to get new air. On that $35,000 grant, I hope to get several new air packs. I called the people that sell them and asked them for a quote. I said, I'd like to get $32,000 worth of air packs. That was 3 air packs. They're $8,300 a piece. I decided to use the grant money for something other than 3 air packs. We have 3 trucks that each has to have 4 air packs. So I have to have 12 new air packs and 24 bottles. I did, when we had our air packs tested this past year, I did get a quote on them and on some refurbished packs, which are about $1,500 a piece without bottles. I can continue to use our bottles a couple more years until, like they were saying about the 15-year hydro date. But once those bottles go out, I'll have to be buying new bottles anyway. So, but if I buy the refurbished air packs without bottles, I cannot get those on a grant. So that's something I'd be buying 12 air packs straight out of pocket. That's something I can't get on a grant. Number 2 on my list is Turnout Gear. As I said, my members don't even have in-date turnout gear. I can't fight a house interior. When I joined Fort Mountain, I'm a certified firefighter too, and I knew I'd be doing interior and tack. I found Turnout Gear online for sale that I purchased out of my own pocket. It was about $800. So that if I were to get hurt in a fire, at least my family's going to get some insurance money from me. I'm not going to go in a burning house and expired Turnout Gear. The third thing on the list is a UTV or side-by-side. We currently have a 2000 model Polaris 6-wheeler. When we had the big fire up on Roan Mountain a couple of weeks ago, I ended up having to give directions to somebody over the radio on how to get it started. It took him over 20 minutes and his response time was almost an hour to get up there with the 6-wheeler. We do a lot of carryouts and fire stuff on Roan Mountain, and I am in desperate need of a UTV or side-by-side. One we have just isn't going to take us much longer. My 4th item that I need is a rescue truck. Fort Mountain is a fire, rescue, and advanced life support provider. That runs our costs way up. We have vehicle extrication equipment we have to carry. We have rope rescue stuff we have to carry. We have water rescue stuff we have to carry. And we have a lot of medical stuff that we have to carry and that we have to keep up with. All of our medical items have expiration dates on them. So whether they're used or not, we have to put a bill to pay for those items. I got my advanced life support inspection. It was about December 28th, somewhere in there. And I had to buy, I would say, well over $1,000 worth of equipment for our advanced life support truck. A lot of our medical items had expired. I know I spent over $800 just on defibrillator pads and batteries for our defibrillator that month. So that just the medical side of things for us is very expensive to keep that operation going as well. Our rescue truck is currently a 1984 model Chevrolet truck that really does not leave the station, but maybe once a year, basically because nobody wants to drive it because you never know if you're going to get home in it or not. The majority of the time they'll grab the equipment they think they need, throw it in their personal vehicle or on another truck and respond in that. We also use our first out engine as our engine that has our vehicle extrication equipment and a lot of our rescue stuff like winches, ropes. We have a medical bag on that truck as well. But that engine's loaded down every time you open a door to, when you get to call and open the door, everything falls out on you because we've got way too much equipment. We need to maintain a separate rescue truck and fire truck. As I said, communications, I do have 10 radios in Asheville I should be getting this week, but I am still behind at least 5 radios, and probably behind 8 to 10 pagers. Half of my guys don't even have pagers. And when you're trying to recruit people to join the fire department, or when people do come to the fire department, and you have bylaws that say you stay this long, you get a pager, you stay this long, you get a radio, and they stay 2 years and they never get a radio, they feel like they're not important and you don't want them there because you're not giving them the basic necessities they need to do the job that they've come to do. So we've had a problem with recruiting and retention due to the fact that we don't have anything to give them. Even the guys that have been there 5, 8 years are in expired turnout gear. Like I'm sure don't have the money to go out and buy the new guy turnout gear. So I'm working on communications. That's that and the turnout gear is my 2 most important things that I need. But those are very important and need to be dealt with as soon as possible. Another thing that I desperately need is an extrication spreader and ram. We bought a cutter last year. Our hydraulic tools that we keep on our engine are from the early 90s. Up till last year, they had never been serviced and were not running very well. We had a wreck in May of 2021. It took, and we actually had Bakersville helping us out, took almost an hour to gain access into the vehicle. New cars are made out of boron and these ultra high strength steels, and cutters and rams and spreaders that were made in the 90s are not made to deal with that kind of stuff. Technology changes and our equipment has to. We decided at that point in time that we had to have a cutter right then and there. So we ordered and paid 100% for our cutter. It is a battery hydraulic powered Genesis brand cutter. It costed us around $13,000. We also need the spreader and ram that goes with that for doing different types of vehicle extrication. Those are both around $12,000 a piece. I have those on a grant. I hope I get them, but if not, I need that on my truck yesterday. The final thing I have on the list, and the list does go on and on, but I knew y'all didn't want to be here tomorrow morning listening to me talk. So the final thing I have on my list is a wheeled Stokes basket. As I said earlier, we have a lot of calls up on Roan Mountain carrying people out. We do take our ATV on the trail as far as we can get it, but we are limited on the trails where we can get and how far we can get. If I carry in a Stokes basket, I need a minimum, and if it's a small person, I need a minimum of 4 people to carry that person out. 4 people aren't going to carry somebody in a Stokes basket very far. So at minimum, I need 3 teams of 4 people. That's 12 people minimum. You have 1 team carrying equipment in, so that already exhausts 1 team if you take 12 people in. Generally, our calls up there are during the day when people are hiking. And generally during the day, I have few people in my district to respond because everybody's at work. The last 2 carryouts I've been on Roan Mountain, we did a 4-department page and I got about 6 people up there. It takes a long time for 6 people to carry somebody out. The last one we carried out was about 3/4 of a mile to the ATV. And it took us roughly 2 hours to get from the ATV into her, get her back out. And that was actually pushing pretty hard to get that done. If I had a wheeled Stokes basket, we could put 2 people, 1 on each end. The majority of the weight is on the wheel. So that would cut it down to a 2-person team carrying at a time. And I would need 6 people to carry out. Just the wheel for a Stokes basket is $1,500. And then if you want the Stokes basket to go with it, which it folds in half and you can wear it as a backpack, which makes it much easier to get into trails, especially on Roan Mountain where we have a lot of trees and tight places. So that Stokes basket is another $1,500. So I'd be looking at around $3,000 just for out one item to carry people out on Roan Mountain. But that would make the job much easier with the limited volunteers that I have. So I just wanted to list a few of the items that I need to show y'all kind of what I'm looking at. And, you know, I have other long-term stuff. We have a budget, but our budget exceeds the money that we make, and we cut things like building maintenance. We have several places the ceiling's falling in our building, and that is the least important because our building doesn't save any lives and it doesn't carry anybody out of the woods. And so our ceilings just fall until we come up with more money to fix that. Our budget is for Fort Mountain around $93,000 a year. I mean, our insurance is $20,000, and you know, 93,000 goes very fast, especially when you consider we are fire, we are rescue, and we are advanced life support also. Do y'all have any questions?
Thank you, appreciate it.
I got one thing. Oh, Fred, you're doing out of the, it has to be a national fire station association. So everything we do, their main name is Turnout Gear, so we can continue. So when it's talking about being out of date, 17, once it goes out, it has to be replaced. So I don't have any extra, but I still got to replace. Like I said, if I don't, that person hurt, insurance ain't paid.
Each department have like a junior program? I didn't know if that was something each department. You do?
But you got a lot of interest to get, I mean, you're getting some.
A lot of this family. We have talked to the school system. Couple of counties surrounding provide UNA programs.
That's another whole nother thing is that there is not much training offered around here. The county does not have any trained crops, so we can't get very many classes in this county because we don't have crops that are required to do the class. So in order for any of our members to get the training, they're gonna have to travel. Maybe as far as McDowell. Last year I went to Cape Fear in Wilmington. I went to Pinehurst College in Sand Hill, Pinehurst, North Carolina. Raleigh. I went to Lumberton. I spent 2 months in Cleveland County last year. There's no training right here in Mitchell County. You might get one class a year, but you're not going to get a firefighter certification in Mitchell County. Fire training center. I call every 3 months and ask Chris about the training center at Nayland. So a couple more months. Requesting you for the training.
That was our capital request. $25,000.
be released. I got an email today, they've released the gift money. So, you know, we. Stand some plan for it. Hold on. And that's for it. But that was our request.
Fruit Farm Fire Department has one time. Anyway, and everything. We got the facility, Fruit Farm. Let whatever needed to go on there, go on. I don't want to get us.
Dr. Boyd, hook us up. That's your to-do list. Let's work on that.
Three classes last year that. I requested in April, and I said, I need one class. I'll be calling in October. I'm at a disadvantage here because I haven't gotten. If we're having instructors, you hire your people.
I know, Dalton County could do it. I don't know.
Guys, thank y'all for bringing all this over here tonight, because it's a lot. I know you guys need it. So we're getting ready to go through the budget cycle, and we'll got the information we need. So thank you, Jeff, for getting those guys to come over in Harlan. Thank y'all for getting them to come over here tonight.
And if I might, before we release these guys. Hold on. I didn't know a thing about fire. Well, I started going to the association meetings. We're asking volunteers to do the same thing. But their time on their. None of us think about fire in this. House is on fire there. These guys have been here for 3 years. I think this is the second year. I may be wrong, Josh. It could be all 3 years that you guys have actually brought numbers and requests. And I think you did it head on. Nobody likes to talk about a tax. Read this right. We're going to a reval right now. We'll be. I think this board really needs to consider numbers of the spreadsheet. Because Josh Boone goes to bed at 12:15. He gets that back up this morning, and he's got to be in the town. So what if he said, thanks. We could have lost an industry in Spruce Pine and boys that, could have had serious damage. Those folks are out of a job. Does that mean they can find another job with the same pay? And Dr. Boyd, I would encourage you through Malin. I think you've heard these guys request. And I think some of the requests have been complaints. And if they're legitimate complaints, I think everybody needs to work together to address this so we can get these guys the training that they need within the county. And personally, I think we are, along with probably every department in the state, every county in the state, maybe across the nation, we are at a crisis with fire and rescue. Getting people, whether they're paid or whether they're volunteers, to come out and do this job. And, you know, there's no easy answer. There's no incentive. Father-in-law retired after 30 years, and I think he got $100 a month. After 30 years of service, or $85, I can't remember what he. Okay. I can remember Jimmy would get his fire associate, his check. And he'd sign it, we'd cash it for him at Lakeview, we'd hand him $100. So.
That's something that we have talked to our state. Georgia, for example, Plattsburgh, $600.
Especially if you're paying into it. I mean,
Yeah, we pay you.
that's, I mean, you'd think they could do a little something.
Tennessee break laws the same way.
So with each fire department, and I mean, and this may be different for each one, but like, what are we looking at percentage wise? And that's probably something you can't say right now, but you'll have to go back and look at to see what it would take to sustain a class 5 or whatever.
It's hard to say. But I would say one breaks tomorrow. Replace it with that. It would be hard. Anything with it. Anything with it. The more the better. But there's, you know,
Well, I'm sure all the homeowners would appreciate. From talking out in the public when I've done these forums, there's like the general public just doesn't really understand this piece of paper that John Hall sent me. But when you explain to them they're saving this much money because it is lower, it makes a lot more sense.
I'm the same way. I'm saying, the only reason I have a fire rate right now, I've got 3 federal grants. 85% on 3 trucks. My ladder truck, like I said, be $1.5 million. You can go look at one, you know, and I can't do that without a grant. So when that truck ages out, then what?
Well, fellas, thank you. I appreciate your time. I know it's a lot to come over here and go through all that, so we appreciate you.
any money out.
I feel like you might enjoy that.
Does all the, what time does everybody's training start on Monday? 6?
Next, down to number 11 items for discussion. So first thing tonight, we've got the recreation plan with Mr. Brock Duncan and Mr. Stan Cook.
Appreciate it, guys. I'll pass this around first.
That is what we've been working on with the High Country Council. And that is the rough draft. So they will have it completed before our next meeting on April 4th. And you will be able to approve the draft. See fit. Drew will be down here that I've been working with. He will be at the meeting to answer any questions that y'all have. I've learned that I'm not gonna answer something that I don't know. So he's a pretty sharp guy. He did a good job on this plan. This is the thing I talked to you about last time that we went through for the past 4 or 5 months. And it is everything's in there, the overwhelming on the indoor rec center from the survey results. So we had that meeting this morning. That was good. And y'all will move. This is the new. Several times walking property. Stan spent a lot of time, Lloyd spent a lot of time, Harley's been with us. And this will be the best fit for elevation of the building and where to put the ball field. And that's the whole reason I brought Stan as well, because there's a lot of questions that I could answer, but I'm not qualified to. All I'm doing is repeating what he says. So.
Well, all of this will be ready to present, we hope.
This,
Give an
yes, sir.
application.
Yes, sir. That right there has to go in with the application. This plan has to go in with the application. The site plan has to go in with the application. The cost, now you're not gonna be dead on, but that needs to go in with the application as well. Which, to my knowledge, and I won't speak over you, Stan, but to my knowledge, he will be able to provide that for us to put in the plan. I will email Drew a copy of the new plan tomorrow. He has to have that as well. So
That's what we're holding.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where did our splash pad go?
Not on there right now. Yes. Look at your blue lines running through there.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nothing can be there unless we're gonna mow it. So whenever we start putting everything on the plan, there's not an area at the moment. If you put the field and you put the gymnasium and you put the park.
So we also lost our food truck road.
That's because the road is not going to be
That road
there.
will never be
at
able
the
to really
moment.
happen there.
Right. Yeah,
Not to burst anybody's bubble, but.
yeah.
Well, it could happen. It would just take a
Well, it would take a lot of.
substantial.
Well, if you look here,
If this plan's adopted, it ain't gonna happen.
I was gonna say this area, that gentleman from the state was very clear that there was not going to probably ever be the option to put a road there. Unless.
It's in the floodway.
So
from
I
that
guess this
field.
would be for Stan. Is there any way that we can reposition in the areas that are buildable and usable? To keep what we've got here, obviously, but to incorporate that splash pad and a place for food trucks to plug in and park and all that.
This is just a preliminary layout.
Burn nothing can go inside this blue line.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
I realize that. That's why I said, could we reposition?
That's how we turn the field. On the first plan, the field
We
was the other
couldn't
way.
put backstop back there. We couldn't put bleachers back there. We couldn't do it. So we had to turn it around. And the home plate and the diamond round up where those out of word, but the home plate and diamond can't go back down here. So it's really, that's about the only place that ball field fit.
Yeah.
And staying
Yeah.
out of a floodway, you can't raise the elevation 1 inch.
Right.
So we're okay to put a walking trail? on there?
Yep, we can
As
put a
long as
walking
you
trail,
dig
as
it
long
out
as
and make it easy.
you're gonna put gravel on it, you gotta replace the dirt. With gravel.
Cannot improve
We put a-
elevation.
What about a fence for that ball field?
You can put a
fence.
fence because the
Say-
water will run through it. You can put a picnic shelter. An open picnic shelter because the water will run through it.
So, I mean, I guess we could.
Is that correct?
And a splash pad is nothing but water, so
Right.
why would you not be able to put a splash pad on?
I don't, hey,
So-
Could you, I don't know how you figure your parking space. So, size of facility. I guess
So-
my question, sorry, but my question. Could you eliminate some of the parking?
yeah, what I was gonna rush for the, meeting is, you see the entrance there coming in from, yes, if we don't need all that parking, we can kind of turn and drive around.
So with all of that and looking at, again, the food truck row, if you will, how could we incorporate that without losing the pertinence of what needs to be here and where could it go? Because when, I mean, and you'll have to forgive me, but when I look at this, I just see what's in front of me. I don't have the vision to say, could we do this here or there? I understand the floodway and all that, but is there still room to do a food truck row?
Well, so Ram, when you say food truck row, what exactly do you mean? Because most food trucks that I know run off like a generator.
Most do, but I'm talking about a place for them to park, like a padded parking. Even with, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but some food trucks can plug in too, right? Don't they?
Most of them use a generator from what I've seen. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like say the town's having a big event, and you got 3 food trucks that want to come in, or, you know, got the Mexican truck up here on the corner every now and then, where you could have options, more than just one food truck.
As long as those trucks are self-contained and have their own electric.
I guess all I'm saying is a designated space for them, you know, rather than just go park down there in the field somewhere. Got a space designated.
Spaced out for it.
Okay.
On this current plan, Mr. Cook, does it have 2 entrances? I see it goes all the way up and connects with the road that comes in. and leaves there. So would it have 2 entrances, 2 exits, or just a single? And I know as part of that meeting today, I may be getting ahead of myself here, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but they wanted a cost analysis, a budget.
Right.
Of these items.
Yep.
Do you remember that date? Was it the 4th of?
By the April 4th, by the meeting. Yeah.
So I guess that leads into my next question. I've had some questions. I've had some people's expressed some concern about building up that area where we're gonna have the gym. That the soil will need to be engineered. Is that? Okay.
We talked about, build up. Before we can do that, we have to have a permit from emergency management. Zero and combat.
Right.
Stand like this, with all respect for that.
the permit. It's just a permit to fill and compact.
But we'll have to have a cost analysis of that ready to go by the 4th. Does that sound right to you, Ron?
He's wanting the cost analysis of the entire project.
So
Yes, yes.
soil, engineered soil,
Yep.
the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
Drew?
Drew, yeah, that all goes into your plan for the max, grant.
Well, and another thing that could play into this for everybody's vantage point. If the new school goes on the green property that we're currently on, there's a lot of cubic yards of soil that's gotta be moved on that side. Very little will go up to football. Artificial turf, because that field gotta have 2 foot of stone in it, and then soil on top of that with artificial turf up at the top. It's not all a dirt. Now, whether that soil over there would test, that's the action. And luckily, my nephew is an engineer in this field. I just had a conversation with him and asked him, is this an expensive thing to happen? And he said, not really. It can be tested on site. The person testing can remain there, and they can actually determine, in most cases, on site, if the compaction needs grace, so you could fill so much, pack it, test it while they're bringing other soil in that moving process.
You're not talking about a whole lot of fill either.
No, you know,
It's, I don't know the exact, what is it, Stan?
I had no, for the entrance way here. It slopes up toward the back part with the double wide houses right now. So
the base floodplain elevation is 2464.8 feet. That is the minimum level. The elevation where this proposed gym site is runs from about 2,462 feet up to the 2,464. So there will be fill in there. Marvin Nunley shot the elevation on there. Now, topo line. Can estimate pretty well what we're going to have to fill there. But I don't think anywhere over 2 or maybe 3 feet. Now down there where we're bringing the road in, there'll be some substantial filling in there to get the road in. But, and what you do, according to the regional planner, Mr. Fox, that came over here and was most helpful. You fill it with a fill and compact permit. After you've got it filled to a level above the base floodplain, you then file an application to have it removed from the floodplain. He said he would help us do that elevation, and he's that permit, and he's the one that ruled on where the permit approved. And then we're out of the floodplain, and they amend the flood map, take that area that's going to be built up out of the flood. And we can build it just like we did on. I was not aware of that, but he assured me it could go that way.
He is the guy that does the audit, so that is good.
He's the guy that issues permit too. And he's the guy that does the floodplain on it, takes that. Thank you, Hardy, for getting him there.
He's super nice guy. He likes club sandwich. So.
Folks, I'm gonna be the project manager in just a few days. I will be right now. The 3 primary goals in the study they did was an indoor recreation, a walking trail, and an outdoor recreation. This project, those are number 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 are combined, but it would be 1, 2, 3. And this project does every one of it. It takes care of it. This plan you're going to approve
it will take care of things like where five people said the most important thing is having. They think, I know that Mr. True was very impressed with the fact that the things that are the most important are gonna be taken care of in one party plan, at least that's gonna be seen.
He said that gives you points too,
That gives you point.
more points.
You get points for extra, every need that's provided is extra points, and you're providing what people make sense.
Yeah.
I have.
Look at the end firm. It turns into, looks like a rectangle there. You know what I'm talking about? If you went to Gooch.
Where it says optional parking. lot.
Yeah, and there's a piece of wrought iron fence. If you go down South Mission, that's that you're looking at. See, like, you see, okay, if you come down that and then look at the parking on the back, which, says parking lot, 41 spaces, Gooch property. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it would be beneficial on the bottlenecking at Gooch too, because if we develop all that parking, that takes every teacher that can park right there. You know how tight it is when you come in. I mean, so they're not getting a road to circle through, but that would be beneficial as well, I think, for both parties.
Well, obviously I'm just one, but I'd say incorporate some of that into your process before you submit
Right.
this ultimately,
Okay, now, I will tell you this.
along with the splash.
Yeah, you guys have to be happy with it. So I can give it to him so he can go and not slow the process down on what. So, Drew will be back here on April 4th, and I'll be with him, and hopefully we'll have everything we need on the drawing. I may try to get, if Stan can get it done, I may try to get it back to y'all before then. That way
That'd be nice.
you're not,
Looking at it right before.
right,
but, yeah.
right.
But it is important that this plan that approved on it. Part of it. Can you give us that plan prior to our meeting?
The,
If we're gonna approve, so we'll have time to
yeah,
consider it.
yeah.
They're doing some.
They'll do some amendments and I'll just print everybody. Yeah, yeah. To me, it's easier to hold it than it is to try to flip through my phone and look at it. So I'll print them all. Me.
So I'm a visual person.
Yeah. I got that.
I gotta be able to see it.
I got
read
that.
it.
Brock, I'm curious, in the gymnasium here,
Yes.
the vision for that is the walking track gonna be on the upper level?
No.
Or will it be on
No.
the bottom?
Help me. He said it would be more beneficial having it on the bottom. Why is that? Gotcha.
Safe. It is,
You have bleachers.
around behind the bleachers or in front of? Okay. Is there gonna be sub rooms inside this gymnasium for exercise classes or climbing walls or?
We will,
The other square back here that says, oh, well, no, that's just.
we're gonna have, like, the vision wise is we're gonna have offices for us. We're gonna have storage to put. If anybody's been in my office, I've got stuff hanging everywhere on the wall, So we'll have storage for that. We'll have a pickleball where they can come in and play pickleball. We can designate that different days of the week. I would like to have a small room has anybody been to the Rock Gym in Avery County? They've got a little room up there with 2 or 3 treadmills. And when I say you've got people, young or old, walking, they use this walking trail like crazy. So you can't use it in the rain, you can't use it in the winter. So if somebody wants to come in and do that, I mean, it's gonna be open for business, like I said, from 9 to 9 would be my plan. And it would be very, what's the word? It wouldn't be near as crowded during the day as it would in the evening. I wouldn't think. After school gets out, you're gonna have kids, stuff like that. We had a drawing for restrooms up against them, for the ball field. We had a drawing for, a concession, rolling door, where you could do it inside or out. Bathrooms where we could shut off the gymnasium if we had to. If you're having some kind of baseball tournament and they wanted to go inside and use the bathroom, they could do that. And you don't have to worry about where they're at if we're, doing something outdoors. So,
Brock, would these include outdoor restrooms as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Attached to the outside of this?
is that what we
60
said,
by
Stan?
80?
No, that would be inside.
Okay,
Gotcha.
so no outdoor restrooms.
But you could close off.
You could access them without having to
Okay.
get into the building.
Building.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there would also be restrooms inside the gymnasium part of the building. No.
It's in the front.
I mean, maybe sometimes I get a little ahead of myself in a vision here, but I'm just thinking this is our one shot and I'm so proud of y'all. Thank you for taking the lead on this. So let's shoot for the moon and stars while we're shooting. And so when I think of that vision, I'm thinking climbing walls for kids, ropes for kids to climb.
I agree with every bit of that. While you're shooting,
Yeah, while you're shooting.
I'm
shoot for
thinking
the-
about that money.
Money.
I've had contact with, I've already met with 2 corporations. I've got a inside track on another. I have, hopefully another meeting down the mountain. I have contacted Dogwood. Hopefully I can do something with that. But in my meetings, I don't have a number that I can give y'all right now. First of all, next time I go on a meeting, I'm gonna take Mavis with me because they ask questions that I can't answer. But, there's a lot of different, what I've heard, there's a lot of different proposals like, can we give you so much for 4 years or 5 years or, so I don't have a number for you. I know I got a lot of interest right now. A lot of interest. I've not been met with an astounding no by anybody.
And I'll say this, a casual conversation with Ralph House a couple of weeks ago. If we have a needs, if we have a wish list, submit. So this is on us.
Well, just as soon as we've got a estimated budget, he's gonna get it.
So I'm like Vern guys. I'm dreaming big, my wallet's small.
Right.
But here again, once in a lifetime opportunity. Personally, I've been dealing with this for 30 years. Okay. My 2 daughters may not ever use this. Helping the grandchildren.
I hope your daughters do.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Let's make it happen quick.
Right.
You know,
And I'll be honest with you, a lot of it is what is it? Beggars can't be choosers. So in my mind, the whole time, I'm thinking that, in my mind, I was thinking phases, because I've been told no a bunch. And I agree with you. Hey, I want it all, man. I'd like to have it all.
I'm greedy. I
Yeah.
want it all at one time.
And I mean, I guess as we all know, we can build it into our plan and put all of our wants and wishes in it. And God forbid if we have to,
Right.
we can remove some stuff, but if we get it in there, do what? Splash pad?
Stan, do you know what, like realistically, what a splash pad would cost?
I think the last numbers I heard. A couple of years ago, from the manager down the street, around 230,000. I don't know the size they were looking at. I don't
How
know
nice is
any
that?
of that.
We want umbrellas and mushrooms and
Heated water.
heated water, that's right. Heated water.
So
Yeah, it would have to be grant.
Yeah.
All of those things that, once we develop this plan, you know,
Right.
what kind of liability, or additional, and they may not be as far as governmental insurance. I don't know, or if it adds some extra liability. on that.
Maybe
I
so.
pretty much have a blanket coverage, so I'm not sure that it's even that. Those are things that we can check, once we put all of their wants into a plan. And we'll follow up on those. Plan though, the broad to be able, and part of grant, this is their, I mean, we have a deadline on that,
Yeah.
so. Sounds to me like that, and I don't know, jump in, sounds to me like, everybody needs to put their ideas, get them to Brock and Stan, so they can. look at that. And see if we can fit it in the space that we have. And I think.
No, we didn't want to slow.
We
it down
gotta
at
have
all.
an estimated budget by
The next meeting.
Those things that you're talking about, climbing walls, splash pads, they're not going to require any problem with floodplain unless the structure associated with it, because we're not gonna be putting them in the floodway, we'll be putting them in the floodplain. And I don't think that would be a problem there. It's the building structure that we've got problem with floodplain.
Maybe so, I think you could talk to Arlene or Crystal.
And
Spruce
what,
Pine, town of Spruce Pine, looking, food grant money, doing a splash pad, pickleball. A couple of other things over there. That's in the planning stage. It may not.
And how flow on has this stuff too. That's another avenue we need to talk.
I would again suggest that you add to as you go on, but you start with. This is the three things.
I'm gonna say,
Splash pads. and all that.
And that was
It's
part of
gonna
it
delay
is
getting it ready.
that made me a little bit nervous on talking to Drew is we keep adding. Is that gonna help us or is that gonna hurt us? Today, they said this is gonna help us. And I was just nervous to add. I was nervous, one, for y'all to say no. And two, for them to say that's not gonna help you, or dadgum, this dude wants a lot.
What about the?
I mean, I had
two
one of the
fields
guys, I
over
tell
here?
you this, and I told him this meeting. I had a guy that I already met with, I'm gonna tell you who, he says, you've got more guts than anybody I ever met asking for money all the time. So I
Brock,
get
you got-
nervous.
You've got a supportive board. here
I
right
do.
now.
I do.
And we want this as much as you do, man, I think. So,
What happens to the two fields that you guys make, the baseball field and stuff? Will you still have that?
Yes, sir. I hope the walking trail, the plan in my mind is for the walking trail to go across the little creek there and attach to Googe and attach to Cane Creek. You'll be able to walk from Wade's Field all the way to here, across the road, and walk all the way to
fire
the fire department.
Does it help you to include them as part of this?
They've already got it in their plan that I'm
The
passing
walking
around. You'll
trail.
see everything that we do is in that recreation plan. They gotta add, like I said, a couple things, but it's all in that Lloyd is. And whenever they get it, their final cut, I'll get everybody a copy of that.
Any other questions for Brock? Stan tonight?
Oh, just a comment. You know, I've had very positive support on this. I've had some people that have questioned it, not me. And I said, look, this is not a gym. That's not what this is about. This is not just a gym that's gonna do basketball only. There's numerous things that can tie into this and lead to this. Years ago, when I coached a lot of travel ball in Elizabeth, at a conference,
Mhm.
4G. And just got to talking to the guy because we spent a lot of time over there. And I said, what do you do with, you know, in your space? Well, you offer an after school program. Kids can come in. We have structured activities. So kids don't have to go home alone. In the summertime, they did, I don't want to call it a daycare, but working parents could drop them off from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for a fee. and they would provide 2 snacks and a healthy lunch every day, and all day long while they were there, if they stayed there for 12 hours, there were structured activities. So this is something that can benefit the whole community of every age. And I'll go back to my father-in-law. You know, he was broken all the pieces in a horrific car accident, and he needed to walk for rehab. And especially when he got old and arthritis started setting up. Well, you had a beautiful park in Spruce Pine, you had a beautiful park over here, but it was up and down and curved. I thought maybe something that was left, that was a safe environment that he could come and walk to and get exercise, and there wasn't. So in saying that, he, you know, I'm sure we have other people that need that facility, and I'm getting old and I got bad knees. So, you know, I'll probably need one of them that says, sign me up for the walking tour.
There's just a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things that can come out of it. And you know, there's a lot of good things that are happening right now everywhere. With the Y and Spruce Pine and that's coming and this right here, it would be the best of everything wherever you go. I said it's my goal, and I keep on hammering it out. What do we need to add? Tell me what we need to add right now. When I say we, I mean staff.
Budget.
Rock climbing wall. Ropes
All that's
from
in.
the ceiling.
Now, all that'll be inside. There's tons of possibilities you can do inside. Yeah.
Places to park food trucks, whether that be in a field or whatever. I personally like these.
Hey, I don't think it does at all. I think this is what, 100 spots? Give or take?
Yeah, you very seldom have 100
So like
spots.
this area right here, they could roll up there, they could roll up right there.
So in that old plan, I got that in my mind, and there was a road, if I'm not mistaken.
It
I
was
don't know what y'all call
it was on the road that
Yes,
they were
it
gonna
was
build,
alongside
that
the
the
road.
road's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So what we did, Burn, with the elevation, correct me if I'm wrong, Stan, on that is we tucked everything back in there. We tucked that gym back in there where that road came down through there, because that's the least amount of fill that we're gonna have to add, because it's close to where it needs to be now. So he tucked all that back in there. So that took out part of it.
Well, so and I'm fine with that. This optional parking lot over here.
Yep.
So you can park your trucks there and have a food truck festival or something. No problems in doing that.
Right.
Well, that's cool.
The only thing I would say probably is more outside picnic shelters. So, you know,
We can put those, It doesn't matter if they're in the floodway or not. Yeah, you can put those. As
And
long
they
as,
can be open air with a
long,
cover though.
like, with a cover,
Just no side.
like the one at Gooch.
Yeah.
As long as he explained, as long as the water can run through, as long as it's not hitting anything. Is that correct? As long as it's not hitting anything.
it's not a barrier.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
would it be good to have like wheels to public in those places? Or do you not like those out? So that don't need to be included in any of it, okay.
Really, what we need to do is keep this diagram as simple as possible, so they can get cost estimates and get everything we need by next Monday.
Gotcha.
The only thing I
We
think
can add to it. We probably can't take away from it if we get a grant based on it. And if we've got food truck places, then we don't put. Artists may say you didn't do what you was gonna do.
True.
Okay.
What you got, Brandon?
well, I think I just answered my own question. I was gonna ask how that additional 20 parking spaces connected to a road, but I'm guessing that'll come in.
Where we're at.
Over that Google entrance there. Okay, so then. All of those down through here. Yeah, I guess that was my only question. Yep. I had another, I guess, a technical question as a soccer coach.
The
How's
brown-
that gonna work with
the
that field
brown
going across
line?
that dirt and that diamond?
It,
Is it
We
gonna
will do it
push-
very similar to the way we do it at Gooch when we have that.
push it more in outfield?
Well, it does, but you know, I was able at Gooch this year and with the specs, we were able to get a U10, a U8 and a U6 on Gooch and not put it in the dirt.
Right.
So, you know, it just depends on how we're gonna bend
And we
it.
still got
The only thing that I can't get on probably anything and have dirt is a U12, a big one.
we still have space for
Huh?
that. We'd still have space for that too.
Over here or at Bowman, and I like to use Bowman, yeah, that's the best field for that. But
Thank you, guys. Great job.
any more questions? See what, I'm trying. I'm trying.
I know you.
It is, I'm going into the unknown a little bit on everybody and everybody's like, oh, yeah, I know, but now I'm working on it. Everybody says, you know, come back to me when you see what your cost is. Yep. Correct me if I'm wrong again, but did we not go a little high on the square footage or did we hit it dead on? Whatever you're saying, just guessing, we're gonna do so much square footage cost from this entire gymnasium. I mean, are we gonna go high or are you saying what it is right now? For them to know.
You mean like a test?
Yes. That's what I mean, yeah. Right. Exactly. I'm gonna take you with me. Yes. Yeah.
This is what we want to do in Grant, Mac, what we still need. This is everything.
Right.
What we're asking.
I just kind of put my foot in the door. That's what I was trying to do. So, last thing has nothing to do with this. In 1 week, I've got a 10-foot long by 6-foot high purple scoreboard for Cane Creek. It's sitting in my office right now. And Sabelco paid the entirety of that. Monday and Tuesday, we got the press box painted, the dugouts re-roofed, the press box re-roofed, flag poles painted, the net fixed, had a 45-foot man lift, and court did every bit of that. So that's a big thing. That's a good thing for our community, and it didn't cost anybody. So some shirts. So I appreciate those guys always. Anything else?
Appreciate you guys coming
Thank
over.
you, guys.
I've got one other thing on. Has posed about cost. Do what he has to do. Permit. The great. I'll try to get y'all sometime. Get things information. Working long and hard.
I've worked for about 3 years, and
No call, but he's gonna start charging.
Thank you.
that's it. Thank you, guys. I'll see you again on the next one.
Next item we got tonight on the agenda, the DSS discussion.
I'll lead us off here. DSS has had 2 more positions come open and we want to ask him to come in. So DSS has had two additional positions come open. Social worker 3 positions under CPS. One is a on-call worker and the other is
Assessment worker.
an assessment worker. So, that on-call piece, I think we're left with one on-call worker, but all those on-call hours have been shifted to, your regular, 40-hour week employees are picking up all that extra on-call. On top of that, you have 38 hours of court-ordered visitation that they're trying to get in every month. I'll let
Every
Wendy,
week.
every week, I'm sorry. So you have basically a full-time position being dedicated to just visitation right now. Is there anything that we might add to that I'm forgetting?
No, that basically sums it up. I just really wanted to say thank you too for allowing us to come tonight. I know you have a full agenda, so I appreciate you making time to squeeze us in, first of all. Yeah. And I do have a copy of a current org chart to share with you if you would like to look at that. And we just simplified the org chart tonight to look at our children's services staff as well as our adult services staff.
Since that's where our vacancies are.
Correct. Brandon get his copy of the agenda, but if you start on the right-hand side, you'll see the adult services. This is the vacant position and we are in process of interviews for that position. If you look in the middle, next, just moving over a column, you'll see the vacant community services tech assistant. This position has been vacant since July of last year. And if you hop on over to the next column, you'll see the other vacant social work position. This one has also been vacant since August of last year. And then on the far left, you'll see the column where the 2 vacant positions are. And these are, like Brandon said, these folks have just resigned. And so these are positions that we are just asking to refill.
Just refill, not add new positions.
Correct.
It's basically the 2 underneath.
We're just talking about.
Yes.
these two.
Yes, those 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So now we've already given permission
I started to say.
for the,
Yes.
and that's currently, y'all are currently working on filling that.
We've done interviews.
So,
I make a motion, we allow them to fill these, and so I would think with filling this though, I know you guys have been going through, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but, to me, if it's in your budget, Steve Pittman doesn't need to know if Wendy needs to fill it, what you need if it's in your budget.
Your hiring freeze, don't fit that.
Exactly, and I would like to add to my motion that we remove that hiring freeze. And
Oh, sorry, while you
For-
were gone, Mexico, we talked about this, and so
Okay.
we said, let's leave the hiring freeze until the end of the fiscal year. After we do the budget, we'll move forward with talking about that.
gotcha, perfect.
I forgot that I didn't pass that along. Mary.
And we did come to that conclusion, but, at 8:00 tonight, we have three of our staff members, including our director of HR, who's been here for 3 hours, kind of to take care of some routine business. With that said, I'm not inclined to wait until budget time. I would like to go ahead and, as a board director or finance officer, to do a budget amendment, eliminate 1 social worker 3 and 1 community social services assistant position. And then once that's done, then move forward with,
Removing the freeze.
yes.
What would we have to do with budget amendment if it's already in the budget?
Well, I think the purpose of waiting till the budget was to go ahead and eliminate,
These 2 positions,
I mean, I think that's the hesitation.
but
You're
just for
wanting to do
me.
that tonight?
I would move that we allow Mavis to remove 1 social worker 3 and then 1 in the assistant position. And then once that's done, remove the hiring freeze.
So just take them out of the budget completely, so come budget time, that are not even an option.
Yeah, so we kind of what I want to do is go ahead and jump ahead and take care of that. instead of waiting until June and making these guys come back.
Is your proposal to remove the hiring freeze countywide?
Yes,
So you're, instead of waiting, you want to go ahead and do that now?
but, so my understanding is, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, we're waiting until the budget because we wanted to remove the social worker 3, and then we wanted to remove this social worker service assistant. Is that the consensus?
Well, I'm
It is
seeing
for
it
me.
different. I think they're here asking for two positions. So there's a motion, like the second, make allow them to fill these 2 positions. There's no reason to remove the hiring freeze right now because we're allowed to fill this position.
But this
I'm
is
saying
These
going
were already
forward,
budgeted
You don't have to
positions.
worry about it. They can manage their business. If they lose somebody else, they don't have to come back down here and say, can I
Hey,
go
can I
refill
refill
this
this?
position?
And I agree with that, but this is the 3rd time. I mean, I feel like we're creating unnecessary work. We personally, as a board, have plenty on our plates to deal with besides the proven
Well, I
standard.
think in that meeting that we had discussed this before, I attempted to make the point that if the position is already in the budget, then there's no reason anybody should have to come to us, even during a hiring freeze, to get permission.
Yes.
Is exactly what it says, hiring freeze or they're hiring.
Right, but I understand that. I'm just trying to say, even for new hires, okay, new created positions cannot happen during this hiring freeze, was my point.
No.
If it's a position that someone vacates and it just needs to be refilled, you're not allocating new monies.
According to what we passed, no one in the county should be hiring any
Yes.
full-time employees
Right.
without our board.
I know that's what we passed, but I'm not sure we
And-
clarified the way we should have when we created the hiring freeze.
And I think we've kind of accomplished what we wanted to accomplish there. What I would like to do is go ahead and eliminate those 2 positions that we're kind of waiting on until the budget time and then move forward, get rid of the hiring freeze.
So Midas, question. Hiring freeze, no hiring freeze. If a new position is being created in any department, does that have to be brought to the board?
What
Okay.
happens in the past when there's an additional person, that process is usually a process.
Okay.
That department will come in, they present their budget and say, I need, for example, inspections, got a new fire inspection last year. They come in the budget process. We approved it, it was in the budget, that position was filled
Mhm.
in July,
Mhm.
okay? We put the hiring freeze in, and it's been done a couple of times in my 10 years. We put the hiring freeze in because that's one, you're in an economic situation where we can't afford, if someone leaves, we've got to leave that position vacant until such time we feel like we can afford to put it back. Or number 2, we do need downside for attrition, so if you leave, that's the best way to do it, don't replace those positions. So a hiring freeze means that department can come to you and say, or you could structure it differently. You could have it come to the county manager and plead their case. But in this case, they had the board, they lost this position and they need to justify why they need this position now, or could they wait to make budget? Or it's a position that needs to be eliminated through attrition. And I think the reason the board did this, probably, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but there was a reason that the board did it at that
I
time.
remember it
because
well.
We needed to lose some staff to nutrition, and we thought that was communicated, but unfortunately, department heads replaced employees, didn't take direction very well, I guess, and so the board found it necessary to not allow that to happen further, that we needed to look at staff to define it, and to see if they were still needed.
The easiest way to say that, maybe the system was abused. And the positions that were filled
And
really
positions
didn't need to be filled,
Exactly.
and it
Because
cost us
things
more
do
money.
change. Things do change over time. I mean,
That's why,
obviously, you know, certain departments get busy with surrounding things, whether it's COVID or whatever, and they needed additional staff, and then other departments, what they were serving was reduced, and they didn't need the extra staff. So it's either, and it's like during when COVID started, it's like, do we lay off people or what do we do? So there are different reasons we just start going around where we need to have a higher. In most cases, it's been done for economic. In this case, it was done just because we felt like staff had gotten, some departments had gotten overstaffed, some areas are still probably overstaffed. And so that's the way to address that nutrition, not have to do layoffs or cut back. Or at budget time, cut positions out. And then somebody has to be told in July, your position's no longer in the budget, so therefore. And that's putting it pretty bluntly, but those are things you don't want to have to do.
Yes.
For the organization.
With that said,
You can formulate that into a motion.
So we-
Chris.
What that said, I trust our HR director and our department heads, and our county manager together to make that decision.
So. No, no, yes, yes.
Correct.
Is that correct?
So do it again, hold on.
I'm good with that. This we already approved. No, no, yes, yes,
Okay, just want to clarify that. I was understanding the way I thought. it was.
yes.
So I messed up then. So I had a no.
No, we already approved this to help with APS
No in
because
the
her
middle.
numbers have increased. This one and this one is a no. This is the two that she's asking for because she needs help from CPS. And these were already budgeted.
I started, they were
All
already,
five of
someone
us are
just resigned.
Yeah.
Yes.
five of them.
All of those were budget.
Yeah.
So, I move that we allow our finance manager to come back to us at the next meeting with a budget amendment, eliminating one social worker 3 and one social worker assistant.
Assistance.
And then at that point, moving forward, effective immediately from that point of approval of that budget and the hiring freeze.
I'll second that.
All in favor, vote for the usual sign. I'm struggling with.
I'm struggling with the hiring freeze a little.
How many departments have
So if this comes
increased
to
their
Commissioner
people
Harding,
in the past year?
not to support you, I agree with you, Dave. But I'm not going to vote for the higher freeze.
You got, what's your vote, Mayor?
Well, I don't want to
So-
vote no because I believe in what Wendy is asking for. But if we're grouping it all in one, we're kind of acting like Congress here, so.
Well,
We've
so,
got two contradictory purposes.
I know,
Can I
yeah.
amend my
Please
motion?
amend your motion.
Can I-
Commissioner Bennett.
Can I amend my motion to allow the hiring freeze to remain in effect, but the county manager in conjunction with HR to approve those hires? I personally have an issue with asking our staff that's working hard, demanding jobs and, managing departments that have lots of turnover just by the nature of that job, coming in and waiting for 3 hours to do routine county business. And I trust Lloyd and I trust Glinda and I trust our department heads together. And I think we have some checks in there to make sure that system's not abused. So I would amend it to say the county manager gets the final say.
So lifting the hiring freeze, giving it to
County,
county control to the county manager.
yes, I will amend my motion.
I'm not trying to be funny, but can you just recap on what your motion is?
So I move that.
So my question, hang on. So my question to Mavis was, how many positions have we added in past years since last time this year at budget? And it was just one part-time, a part-time to a full-time.
Well, the extension is budgeted though at budget time. Okay, that was approved in budget.
Yes.
Okay, but since then, the only thing I can think of that we've increased, hours weren't increased,
Yes.
but in the sheriff's department, just due to the COVID, we did, one person that was part-time, although he's working full-time hours.
Yes.
We permanently moved him to full-time. He
And-
was already there, we just,
And so that's
Change
fixed
his
so that we
classification.
don't get dinged for,
right, for being in trouble.
yes.
More than he needs to. But other than that,
And when you have turnover in CPS, it is a domino effect. You got workers that now are on call, that work on call 3 weeks ago.
I'll second that motion.
Are you good with my amended motion? You want me to recap?
Recap it, please,
All
sorry.
right, so my motion would be that our finance manager eliminates one social worker position, one social worker assistant position. The hiring freeze will remain in effect, but instead of the board approving it, we will delegate that authority to the current county manager and future county manager. So,
Can I ask one question on that? So from the freeze perspective, that's, when I think of freeze, I'm thinking new stuff too. This one is like, so refill them, if somebody quits and they want to refill it, they have to get approval for it.
I would say this.
Okay.
I think that's a discussion we need to have with HR and the county
Just so that
manager.
everybody's in the loop.
And so everybody understands what that position was and can justify the need. Because I think, that's your check and balance, make sure that you're not getting a department that is overstaffed or understaffed.
Yep.
But hopefully,
checks in place to make
Right.
sure that every position, the business needs justify them. So that's what HR director, HR and county manager.
in most cases, any additional positions, unless it's an emergency, any additional position, other than our head count we have right now, is going to be addressed at budget time. You're going to hear it at budget time from me. If those department heads have come in and said, due to this, I'm requesting an additional person, okay? So,
I don't have a problem with that, y'all. It almost seems to me a little bit redundant. If you have a budget that you're given and you're the director of organization or department, that's your yearly budget that you work with, okay? Unless you have some kind of ruling from your board come down that we're changing this budget, we're amending this budget.
You did that. You said, don't fill vacancies.
We did. I'm saying going forward, though, I don't know necessarily even why the manager, with all due respect to the manager, if we've trusted them with that budget, I mean, unless we change the budget or amend the budget, to Lord's point, why would they not be allowed to replace someone who resigns?
They would.
Well, but
To your point, though, we're asking them to come in here and present every single.
I know
rehire to the
temporarily
board.
though, but if
That's
we're
what
dropping this
hiring
tonight,
freeze means.
Commissioner Pittman, what I'm saying, going forward, if they've got a $250,000 budget to work within, why would they need to come back to the manager even to say, Billy Joe quit, can I replace him?
I mean, I think it probably just builds good camaraderie, just so that it keeps the county manager in the loop, so that he or she is not blindsided by one of us being like, what the heck? So-and-so quit, why didn't you tell us?
And also, we have a process in place where personnel forms that are completed and signed off by from a salary perspective, a grade perspective, why is this change taking place, so everybody will know, and the county manager can privacy. And that's how.
Well, wouldn't they be required to do that even if you have a new hire? I mean, if
For
you,
any and all personnel changes.
right,
Yes. So this.
So
would be
without-
The county manager's always involved.
So we don't need the county manager to okay it? Is that what we're saying?
we're signing the
It's
personnel
okay
action
by
forms.
signing that form.
I will amend my motion to whatever it takes so that they don't have to come in and present their case every time to do routine business.
Is there a motion on the table?
Not sure.
Okay, first, I'm gonna go back to your point. And I know you guys don't, you're not involved with this, but this has been about third or fourth year now, I can name two that left department and we still have to deal with it. Okay? Because, number one, economically, we were trying to see if we could buy without them. Downside. And number two, couldn't find a person to fill those qualifications. Okay? So in a couple of departments, I can name one of them, we put the money back in the budget this year, it stayed in there. So it's not big deal, you know, the money was in the budget. The other one, I took the money out because I knew it was not gonna be filled this year, moved it to some other place that I needed money. Okay, so you can't always say that people are gonna always fill those vacant positions. And I think it does take the department head, but sometimes HR and myself or the county manager to look at the situation and say, you know, sometimes you don't know if you need that position or not to do that for a little while. And during COVID, to be honest, these couple of positions, we were able to do without. Okay, because traffic slowed down in some of the offices for various reasons. Okay, and one, we can't find someone. But for whatever reason, other people. Now, is it public situation, or probably not, but most departments don't always run.
And that is perfectly fine. I get that, and I don't disagree with it. I guess I'm just having a little trouble saying, okay, well, if that's the case and we wanted to try to back down, then this board, that's where we should step in and say, from this point forward, you don't rehire anyone until, you know, there's a balance. And
Yeah,
it's
there's a
fine. I'm
balance,
not.
But 90% of the time we deal with all the budget.
Right.
And unless it's an emergency, and they have to use budget, say, this has happened, this is why, with another person, then you should deal with it. Other than that, we should deal with it.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, vote by the sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda list tonight is the discussion of census money.
Thank y'all.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take a quick break. Let's use the bathroom real quick. We'll take a 5-minute break and then we'll reconvene.
Skip,
This one? Okay. All right, guys, we're back live here and we'll get back started here. Hopefully get this
Yeah, we-
wrapped up. Next item on the list tonight is the discussion of the census money.
I'll lead us off. Me and Miss Larson talked we talked on Saturday for about an hour. I thought we had a very productive conversation. We talked about some of the needs of the county and Ms. Larson talked about, some of the things that she wanted to accomplish with the study. And I think that you'll have to correct me if I quote you wrong. I think she said she could get the study done for $7,400. So I'll leave it there.
I also spoke to Ms. Martin over the weekend. We got cut short because I was traveling off sick, but I had explained to her from my perspective, the hesitation in making a decision prior to tonight. That was because of the needs for AED devices for some of our county facilities, and also the concern that I had from our last meeting of being informed by the Department of Social Services about approximately 225 citizens losing some food money stipends they were receiving during the COVID situation. So, and I heard about the study, of which I'm appreciative, and I do appreciate the work that she and had done. Search through that diligence they put in. So don't want to come across anyway whatsoever.
Well,
But it was an insightful discussion. I appreciate it.
How much money you want? You want it all? We just want 7. I make a motion, we give that money to you. I'll make a motion, we allow you to take that money. You guys worked hard to get it, so, and we wouldn't have it without it, so
The whole amount?
the 7,000, whatever the amount was there. $7,235.
how many AEDs would that leave us here? Do-
Maybe what would be the 4 or 5 crucial sites where these devices are not located?
Oh, I don't have my list. I have a list of them. Yeah, so we'd have to look at which would be.
Ms. Clark, you said in the last meeting that Yancey County gave you all $1,000. Is that correct? And that 1,000 can't be used off of the study of 7,200. Right, we gave you $1,000.
It was so.
I could say, I certainly am. share communication, senior citizens, co-op, maintenance, and airport. So if you look at that list, we're probably,
Let's say we had to pick four, what would be the top four?
I would probably say,
We have one at Head Start.
uh,
We have one at Head Start.
Head Start has one state on there.
Okay.
The one that
Head
Ram
Start,
View?
no,
Oh, that-
actually daycare.
Yeah,
Daycare's
they
got
have
one.
Ram
They-
View. Do they have one?
Well,
Any
I thought they did.
daycare.
I'd heard
should
rumor
have
of
one
that.
that's State requirement for your license. If I'm not mistaken. Which, is it, which?
Ram.
I'd heard rumor that they
They got
didn't,
one. They got
that one of them.
They got some state provided that one. We don't really. provide. So that's a requirement of license. So, I mean, it's just up to you. They're $1,245 a piece. And, I mean, maintenance, there's two guys down there that don't get a lot of public. I would say they're probably not important. As far as.
I was afraid something like that was gonna come out.
No, I mean, they're not in their office. They're out and about. So what I mean, they're not in the office. And public is not coming in there. So, you know, I would say sheriff's a high traffic, senior citizens is definitely high traffic. Co-op, pretty high traffic, and then there's like kids programs and 4A. So it's up to you guys, and we can do whichever. Or
Ms. Larson, did you sit on the collaborative committee or whatever for the community health assessment? You do sit on that. So I sat down over the weekend and went through the 250 page, 45, whatever it was, page document. Can you tell me how this assessment that you guys want to do is going to be different than the one that the health department is required to do every 3 years?
that was. But, yeah, we're not doing any.
Mm-hmm.
And about, like, services. What the survey did was.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the names of, but not the, like, you have a present. Travel out of the county. For the county. If you have. Like that. What we're trying to do is. A good picture of what they problems are, but not. That's what we're looking for. And we're hoping to get it to data first.
So would I be correct in saying that that survey was given out to the people that attend or use the initial Yancey Avery Health Departments? Is that where that was distributed, or was it distributed to citizens, or?
You know, it was a fascinating thing with what we did with that. Look at the
Mhm.
amazing, really, responses that parallel the time.
Mhm.
So
So. So it was only given out to the people that attend or utilize the Mitchell, Yancey, and Avery Health Departments, or was it given out to all citizens of Mitchell? Okay, so did they call citizens from Mitchell, Yancey, and Avery, or just Mitchell? Just, yes. Yes. Separately or as a collect, okay. Mhm. Mhm. So. Mhm. So this new study that you guys want to do, with that, I mean, you plan to call people, distribute it out in the community, or do you know, you don't know yet?
No, I think that should be it.
Mhm. So. So would that be data from Mitchell County or a combination of Mitchell and Yancey?
It's actually what we want.
Mhm.
And also.
Okay. Mhm.
No, because
As far as services, I think you just answered that,
yeah,
between Blue Ridge and their hospital.
you know, I mean, I think, understand.
You know, we've had some different issues pop up. We've talked about some of these issues with HCA and our local hospital at different times, from understaffed with not only doctors, but everybody across the board, transports, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Will this address some of those issues? If you can get the data you need.
I tell you, my own perspective is that long-term.
Well, Miss Larson, if I can speak to that couple of things, I think maybe shifted my mind is after our conversation, I was telling my wife, like, I was pleased that, you know, we had this healthy, productive conversation. And I said, I think what they're trying to do is, you know, trying to keep our hospital here and open. And my wife's like, what? Our hospital could possibly close? So I think you said there's a huge portion of that is, I mean, just to cut to the chase. So.
It's something we're always watching. They think they're going to give it away.
Took cancer treatment away.
$$20 million. So I think that our local leadership is doing a very good job. Small food. That's going to be enough. What happens if they say, we if the numbers show us that McDowell and do everything that Blue Ridge is doing, we're closing Blue Ridge. Now, but it's not.
How close are we to year 10? Susan? So we got 7 years.
7.
All of
And I think another thing that helped me is, we paid for not a study, excuse me, an updated recreation plan with the intention of using that plan to maybe get a $500,000 50/50 match on that part of grant. And I believe during our conversation, you said that this study could lead to.
good, I mean, you're not gonna get anywhere. Didn't you ask what you needed? That's the point we're at. Now, we'll do it regardless. We don't have to use that money if you don't want to. But we're happy. It'd be great if you were in on this.
They worked pretty tough on their efforts, I think. And that's always kind of been kind of a hesitation for me. It's twofold. I'm always weary to fund a study, but I'm also weary to tell volunteers to work hard. No thanks as well. I don't want to send that message either. She says she can get it done for $5,000. Would you be willing to amend your motion to that amount, Chairman Pittman?
5,000.
For $5,000.
Give them,
But
us give them 5,000 and we use the rest for AEDs for the county.
would that help you guys along in your endeavor with us as partners at $5,000 and allow us to buy some AEDs for some crucial places?
Well, I will amend my, original motion to make that for $5,000 to support the study. And we'll use that additional money to purchase, take me so we can get forward.
No,
How
really
really?
bad, I can get sick. How, me and mine, I just text Stephanie because I thought communications got one when they built a new building, and they were on my list, so we can take them off the list. So we could knock out.
Okay, so
So I'm gonna make sure I understand. The urgent need is for 6 AEDs.
We need 8 total, but what I would suggest is that much to 5.
What do you think about our compromise on financial?
Susan, what other funders do y'all have?
We have 3 other funders, so, plus, what it's allowed us to do is to have some help. I think last time somebody mentioned it. For all of us too. Or not, we have 20 hours.
Private funding request for money for this particular purpose.
No, really, but at this point, I don't think that's I think when we have a plan. We have got. And, Katie Reynolds has questioned Marion, Marion Patel County was one of five sites they have two. Yeah, quite a bit of money. In fact, that's their. So there is.
We've done 3,000. I won't vote against the 5,000, but I will. Pop all day.
Jeff, you're
You
being
guys-
awful
You guys
quiet.
have
What
worked
you
very
got?
hard, so I want to reward your hard work. We
We-
wouldn't have this money without you. so.
Well, with that said, they're also gonna do some research on some tough topics that, I mean, quite frankly, we don't want to ask and talk about as well.
I would say Steve.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 5 on this one. You guys have worked hard. I don't want to discourage people from, like yourself in the community, from working hard because you're helping.
Down, then you can come up with something else.
I'll second that.
All in favor, vote by the usual sign. My gosh, we got it across the line. All right.
Hey, thank you
I'm
for
glad.
being diligent. I know you've been patient. I know you've worked hard. This is your third meeting in a row.
And it's nothing personal, as you've seen, we don't move fast on anything.
Your perseverance paid off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank y'all
your
for what
time.
you're doing. When does search meet, Susan? And, I mean, when does it meet? What?
Oh, when did it go?
That's a-
We need,
I was gonna say, I know that Stephanie Wiseman is coming to my community forum in Poplar. Yes. Whatever you and her and Bryant was zooming with y'all, whatever that was. So,
that's good. Everything's going on. Brian.
mhm. Right now. Next 3 months.
All right, we've got, thank you guys for your time on that one. We're gonna move on to item number C tonight, the architect RFQs.
We received 6 RFQs in response to our request for RFQs.
forward all of you all the copies. We need to get that down to 2 at some time in the near future. Read them. Feel comfortable with them, I'd say put it on next Monday night for a naming. We have to name 2. We have a favorite and a second favorite. We then go into negotiations with the first favorite. If we come up with an agreement with them, that's the end of it. If we don't, we go to our second favorite and see if we can do better with them than we did the first.
You guys think you can look at that, make a decision by the
sure.
next,
I've got mine made.
I want some more time. When,
by the first meeting in April.
gotcha.
Fourth. I think it's
Ah,
fourth.
we're ready.
Harley, you good with that?
Yeah.
We'll put that on the agenda for the 4th and have you an answer. Unless you guys come up with, well, I guess we have to do it.
Let's do it in open meeting.
Yeah.
We have to pick 2.
Gotcha.
Be prepared to pick 2.
Gotcha.
Not 2, not 1 now. We'll do the next one next month.
Gotcha.
Because let's get this thing rolling.
Gotcha. We'll be ready. So we'll make note of that, add it to the agenda for April 4th.
That's a lot of pressure.
Well, get ready for it. And we'll, if nothing else, we'll just vote on it and do the 2 that gets the most. It'll be it. If you don't like them, that's bad. If you don't like them, that's bad. But we're gonna have 2 when we need them.
So if we put those,
We're
if
not
we,
gonna be here all night.
We do try to find consensus.
so if we put that on the agenda, how much time frame do we have to interview those?
We said in our proposals that we would plan to select an architect on the 2nd of May.
Okay.
We meet commitment.
That's 30 days.
We-
That's
we
a long
good
time
question.
for us.
Remember this, between the 4th of April and 2nd of May, you've got to interview both these firms.
Between all of our other meetings.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Steve, while you were gone.
If you don't get the 50.
What have y'all been, what have y'all been up to? Oh, I know, it's one of the old, Harley did bring me up to
With
speed on
Larry,
this,
you
yes.
know,
Yes.
Rebound stuff.
Yep. I got you're in on every meeting we signed you up. Every
I-
meeting since you were
I
gone.
appreciate it. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I signed you up for a meeting Thursday night. I don't know if you do that or not. I need to talk to you. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm just reminding myself because I forgot to call you. So just put that in your pipe for Thursday night, with the, school board was wanting to try to talk, the Brent, Chad and
I'll probably keep doing it Thursday. And I'll tell you after the meeting why.
I don't remember.
I can do it Thursday day.
Okay, let me see what I can.
We'll
I'll
talk
talk
after-
to you.
we'll
Sorry, I
talk
just
after.
told you that because I just now remembered it.
We'll talk
I-
after the meeting.
I told you that, so we'll, thank you. Next item on the list is the grant project ordinance for SCIF funds for new law enforcement center.
Okay, what you're gonna be seeing this meeting and for probably several meetings is a lot of requirements, financial requirements for all this money that we're getting. And the first one is your grant project ordinance for the $5 million that we received for the building of our new sheriff's department. So I need, since this wasn't in our original budget, we didn't know about this, so we have to, basically, it's like doing an amendment. It's gonna be included in the amendment, but we also have to do a grant project ordinance. It's required. This will not be, that we spend in 1 year. It's gonna be a multiple year project. So I need you all to approve it.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, but use your sign. That buddy right there.
The next one is budget amendment number 4. And this is a pretty detailed one because it's a balanced budget amendment, but what we're having to do is set up several new funds. Of course, that was not in the budget when we originally did it. It's new funds that's come bound from some new gas fee requirements. So we've had to set up some new funds for some pass-through money. In other words, what they're saying now, and I think Sharon talked about this when she came and did the audit presentation, some funds that are passed through, it passes to us and we pass it to somebody else. They're not allowing us to do pass-through the general fund. We're actually have to set up separate funds to run this money through. So I have done that and recognized those, Fund 14, 15, 16. Also, we just approved the budget ordinance for the new sheriff's department and the budget ordinance. So we set up new Fund 44 to do that. And so that's what's in this budget amendment, pretty much. And other than that, it's pretty much just moving some money around, recognizing some additional revenues that's come in and try to spread that out over additional costs that we're running into. But I'll be happy to answer any individual questions about any of the individual costs. At this point, I'm just trying to move money around to keep us even, Steven. We've not hit fund balance more than what we had originally budgeted, but on the other hand, at this point, we're not reduced fund balance in any way. We're kind of even. Any questions?
Need a motion to approve that.
Gotta
budget.
approve this one too, guys.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, vote with usual sign. Motion carried.
Okay, the next group is your Cdbg compliance requirements on the housing grant that we just got for $750,000. We are in the process of getting all these documents. I need all, and you can do them as a group. We don't have to do them individually. It's a little overwhelming, but there's a list. All of these have to be approved, signed, and sent to Raleigh for us to get the $750,000. While we're doing this, Michelle Ball with High Country is and has started the environmental study on the 4 houses that we selected to do replacement. So all of this environmental and all these forms have to be into Raleigh prior to June 4th. That was the deadline. We hope to get them there way before then. It'll depend on environmental. Once they approve all of this, then we can proceed with getting that grant going.
To have a motion. Have a second. All in favor, vote with usual sign. Thank you, Mavis. Thanks, Mavis. Appreciate you. Next on the list tonight, we have some appointments. Alan. You'll come up. We have recently selected Mr. Alan Cook as our new county manager, effective
April 4th.
April 4th. Yeah, sorry. I
8
couldn't-
a.m.
April 4th, so you still can back out at this point. The door's just close by, so.
He already signed the paperwork.
Oh, you already signed it, so we got it. We got it, so. As far as appointments go, I have a motion that we appoint.
I'll second that.
All in favor, vote for usual sign. Congratulations. Welcome to the team.
Like Linda, get your picture, because I know Corey at the paper wanted it.
How about with the board?
Oh, that works.
You don't want to be in the one, you just want, yeah, after they, ready for it, start throwing darts, let's throw the darts. You gotta get in the middle, it's a good commission. Work. Boy, so I'm bad.
No, I'm sorry. I've been sitting, I shot over your reins, I'm sorry.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Yes, sir, man.
Buddy, I hope this fella can get in the retirement.
Next on,
He's not retiring yet.
next on the list
We
here,
don't let
we,
people retire here. They're here forever.
next on the list, we have got a wonderful, project manager. in the group here. So, do I have a motion? We appoint our new project manager, to help oversee a lot of these projects we got going.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And I guess we should, do we need to clarify the terms or anything, hours, Lloyd, or?
It's gonna be, the salary rate will be exactly the same, but we're gonna do it per hour.
So we're not limiting your hours.
And I'm gonna limit it myself. If I have to do it. But you'll pay me on an hourly basis. So I think it comes out to 41.66 and 2/3 cents an hour.
Very reasonable. Very reasonable.
I appreciate your insight on that. You guys, you made us, done a really good job getting these things rolling down the hill. So we just want
Well,
to keep
there's
that
basically
traction going.
3 things that I'm gonna be working on. The project and ARPA.
Don't forget that old
And that
school's coming
school
around. Yeah, don't forget that old school coming around.
Now, that's the new manager's duty.
I think I had a motion and a second, on favor, vote the usual sign. Congratulations, Lloyd. Still employed.
You're never retiring.
So,
I didn't know quitting work was so hard.
yes,
I
sir.
think we need a picture of Lloyd too. And
Get your camera, Linda. She,
There's a little humor in this, you know.
You don't get to wave, Lloyd.
Our former interim.
The mug shots. We're here with the mug shots.
All right, I'm free. 1, 2, 3.
yeah, I know, I am short. Oh.
Next, finance officers report. No update from finance. County managers report.
I've got only one thing that we haven't already talked about. The soil testing is back on the site and it's approved. It does have to have some cut and fill 5 feet deep. That was the same as the wrong.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. Other than that, no problems with it.
This is the school, right?
No, the
No.
sheriff's law
Oh,
enforcement.
sorry, sheriff's department. Okay.
I put a copy of the report in your boxes because I just got it in late this afternoon. Except Hardy's sheet, I got her shoe sheet.
Yeah, I read it. It looks good.
Anything from the attorney? No need for a closed session tonight. Board comments, Commissioner Pitt.
I appreciate the hard work of our county employees and even though we're slow, I think we'll get some things done. I'm excited about having Alan on board.
I am too.
Mr. Matt.
I'm just gonna say that I really enjoyed serving with you guys, and I think we are on the way to doing lots of good stuff, and I'm very excited about it. I'm glad that even if we are slow,
We get
We
where we're
do.
going. I'll be honest with you, the Reese's buddy, I was about to try to write her a check out of my own pocket. I was moving on that one.
We can go back and amend that. Let you
Well,
write it.
Oh, Lord, that was fun. Commissioner Hardy.
One thing, if y'all hadn't heard the news, Yancey County has decided to pull out of the Tow River Health District. They're doing their own health department. When I have more information, I will update you as well as the finance manager, what it looks like for the budget changes. That will take place June 30th will be the last day that they are in. So it will be Mitchell and Abe.
Question, Jeff, how does that affect us? I mean, is that, because we're still just paying for the services we we get.
What we'll
right?
end up doing, Steve, we know our cost service is what they're gonna be. With the people that work for the health department. Where we'll see a change is the shared services. You know, there was 4, 5, 6 shared services. Yep. At the bottom. Administration, finance, several others. That instead of being divided by 3 counties will now be divided by 2. And I've asked Diane for true numbers. There's a process that you go through with the state. I don't totally understand that yet. We could get the same amount of money from the state. We could get a little bit less money from the state for programs. We could get more money from the state. And she has made that phone call 2 weeks ago. Sort of saw this coming down the pipe for several months. So, and I won't elaborate anymore because.
Commissioner Groundskeeper.
Well, I just reiterate what's already been said. I appreciate the board. My desk, I appreciate all the board. I look forward to serving out the rest of my term in December. Hope that we can accomplish a lot of what we started and at least see some movement before I leave December. I do appreciate y'all. It's my pleasure working with y'all. On an ending note, I've had communication, I guess, by default from Pittman Signs about the Welcome to Mitchell County signs. They've reached out a couple of times. I've sent them to Mavis over. Okay. Well, the big signs are ready and they are there to be put up. We're still working on the metal signs. Lloyd, maybe you could reach out to them. I've talked to them about when they can install those. They did tell me we want to do a ribbon cutting on those signs. They said they could not have spectators during the installation process because of insurance purposes. But they would let us know exactly what time they'd be finished after the ribbon cutting. But the big signs are ready. We need to communicate with them about getting them installed.
I would say it's ASAP.
Yeah.
Your
definitely.
season's coming, so. You got their phone number?
Yeah. They do. They got, Nikki had worked with them on that, so they've got the,
So, okay.
765-9535, Chase Pitt.
Call him
Jared.
tomorrow.
And I'm gonna echo the same thing. Sport is a pleasure to work with and, I have fun. I mean, I know we spend a lot of time together, so it's a good thing we get along because, gosh, we see each other more, we see our families a lot of times and I know every one of us is working and got a lot of things to do. So, I appreciate what you guys have done. I think Mitchell County is benefiting by what we're doing. And I'm super excited where we're headed. One thing I've been trying to work on is get some traction around, internet. I know there's a lot of folks in Mitchell County that, always asking about high-speed internet. So went to the High Country Council of Governments meeting last night and got some data. There's a great grant ranking that's out there. And just to give you guys an idea, now this is the #1 most connected county in North Carolina is Mecklenburg County, which that didn't surprise me. #2 is Ashe County. The crazy thing about this survey is of all the high country counties, Ashe was #2, Wilkes was 17, Yancey was 18, Allegheny was 23rd, Watauga 31, Mitchell was 37, and Avery's 38. And that basically, the way there's total in Mitchell County, there's 8,713 households. Estimated number of unserved households as of 225, or sorry, 269.
69 unserved?
That's where this survey says. So I've asked them if Spectrum did the survey was my question, because I can name you 200 people that I know that ain't got internet service
Well,
in our local area.
John, what was that survey that we filled out a long time ago about internet? I was curious. I didn't know if maybe it came from that. I was just curious.
I don't know where they got their numbers, but I just do not agree that only out of 8,713 households in Mitchell County, only 269 are not served. I just don't.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. Avery County, 13,890, and only 456 are not served. You ever drove through Avery County? And so I don't know what their definition of served was, but I don't know. I found that. So basically what all this means is if we were going to try to get money from this group, there's basically 37 counties ahead of us in terms of need, or sorry, not, let's see, not, if it was
They're
Ash, it
behind
was
us.
98. Yeah, it's 60 some counties that would be ahead of us to get service. So probably not gonna get anything through this grant, unfortunately. And then also last night from this infrastructure bill, there is going to be $11 billion that is granted to the state of North Carolina, from what they were saying. And most of that is around, a lot of it is around sewers, waste lines, water lines, and different stuff. So there's gonna be a lot of money out there coming up to, for us to have an option to go after. So just some couple interesting things from last night. So anyway, I'll shut up. We've been here long enough. I just thought that was interesting. Do I have a motion? We adjourn.
Second.
Harley?